Hello guys and welcome back. I'm very sorry we had a week off of the Tribes Talks because there were important stuff and things happening in real life that inevitably got in the way, but we are back with a vengeance. I'm joined today by my wonderful co-hosts, Mr. Carthrick and Mr. Wolfie. How are you guys doing today? Hopefully good.
We are doing. How the hell are you doing, Scrub?
I'm bald. I'm doing great, man. And I'm wearing a hat, so you can't tell if I'm bald. This hair you see flowing over here, it's simply attached to the hat.
For all you know,
I am actually feeling a little bit left out. The pair of you have both got hats on, and here's me just bald-heading it, blinding everybody else. Except for those listening to the podcast, of course. They can't really be blinded.
Loud and proud.
Blinded by sound, is that a thing? Could that happen? I don't know. But yeah, I'm really good, thanks, Wolf.
That's a thing, right?
People
can hear sounds and can see. No, I think that's a thing. You can
smell colors and stuff like that. Yeah,
exactly.
It's a thing. I'm
smell
sure.
the color now.
Yeah. But yeah. It's been cool. We did a charity stream on Friday. It went very, very well. Wolf, you won some headphones.
Woo!
You won some headphones. That's pretty cool. I mean, I don't know how it works. They said you should get an email, Wolf, attached to whatever your Twitch account is. So keep an eye out for that. And if it doesn't happen soon, let me poke them with a stick, a pointed stick.
A pointed stick.
Yeah, I'm really proud of us. We managed to a pointed stick. We managed to raise what?
Reference. Sorry.
Yeah, I immediately need to learn how to defend myself against an opponent assailing me with a banana. What about opponents with pointed sticks?
The pointed sticks.
So you made a reference to it.
Sorry, I had made a reference to that. People were like, "What is that? I've never seen that sketch before. Is that Monty Python?" I was so disappointed. Disappointed. It's a classic.
It is a classic.
Anyways.
But yeah, we raised charity. Over $2,000. How good is that? Over $2,000. I'm so pleased. Carthrick, in no small part, contributed to that particular endeavor. So thank you so much, Carthrick, raising money for Games for Love. The kids shall be playing with games, which is exactly what I did as a child. But I had the very good fortune of being blessed with not having to stay in the hospital for extended periods of my childhood. So,
yeah, but you still wound up bald, so I guess you're there with them.
Bald and ugly, Carth. I got hit with the ugly stick more than once, unfortunately. Which...
Nah, it's all right. That's what paper bags are for.
It is. Yeah. I have a whole stock of them in my bedside drawer. Mrs. Scribble whips them out on the regular. This Tribe Talks has an interesting start to it, really, doesn't it?
Yeah.
People are like, talk about SWGoH, damn it! Garth, what's news with you? What's news with you? Or something.
Not much. Just kind of in a holding pattern. Conquest is done and dusted. It was a very relaxed TW this go around.
Relaxed for us, yeah.
Yeah,
because we didn't do anything.
No, we went. Or we only issued one order the entire time, and it was we don't care, free for all.
Yeah. It was like, we were gonna get boned. So
yeah, we were a gimme round for dirty old blasters. So it was. They are far more TW competitive than we are, and I just like. I love when people try to tell me like, "Oh, dude, it's totally a fair fight. Like we're only a couple million GP difference. I mean, 20, but it's a couple." And I'm like looking at their Omicrons and looking at their Datacrons. I'm like, this isn't a fair fight. They have 1,000. They have almost 1,000 level 9s in their guild. Mm-hmm. They have the top TW Amis are required in their guild, so they have 50 out of 50 on everybody.
Oh wow.
So it's just like, no, dude, there is no fair fight here. You can literally make zones that we can't even compete against because you have the ability to split your Amis and do things that we can't do because we only have like 20 of those Amis. So it's just like, no. Like I'm with you. Like if we actually tried, we probably would have come close. But with how our guild plays TW, it was
we probably would have at least cleared a wall. Because we didn't do that.
No, well, we could have too if I even would have tried to make a command. We had the teams to clear that south wall, but we just decided not to do anything.
It was bad when I checked in on the TW in the morning. and I had done one attack, and I was 10th for points. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So nobody's doing anything.
No, that was kind of the vibe we were running with. Yeah, dude, it was close in guild GP, and that was about it. I mean, you had a far more dedicated group of players. You had a far better investment on what was going on there. So I was just like, yeah, I'm not gonna stress this one out. I already know this one's coming, So it's like, skip it,
well, We had how many in a row? Like
15.
So we were bound, 15 TWs bounce wins. We were bound to eventually get put against a monster.
Yeah, well, we finally got above like 400 in lock-in for like the first time in also the same amount of time. So
it's been 84 years.
Yeah. So it was just.
I don't know.
It was like I don't really care.
It's disappointing. I like to fight. I know we didn't really stand a chance, but I would have rather have tried, even though I know from an officer perspective it would have been very frustrating because you'd be like, guys, do something.
Because I'm with you 100%. That's where I'm with you. That I love fighting, even if it's a losing fight. We used to do that in Ghost all the time.
Yeah, for sure.
But that was a much more TW oriented guild at the time, and this one's just really not. They're just we have competitive people, but it's a small percentage of the guild, and it just doesn't translate to the rest of us. And I'm not gonna sit there and stress about this for 24 hours. I talked to the officers. I'm like, no, I don't care. We're just gonna send it. Bye, done. See ya.
Yeah, these are my orders. Let's do it. Yeah. So, needless to say, and to be fair, we set like full FU defense. Like everything was on defense, and they still cleared 90% of the board. Like,
they used Reva to beat JML. They used like Tuskens and Gas and Night Sister Krons to beat our Starkiller teams. They had the thing is they have the Krons and they have the teams to off meta GLs. They couldn't get through the back walls because they were JMK and Lord Vader. By that time, we drained them of every GL that they had. He did one of the guys that told me. Yeah, well, we didn't plan on nothing.
We were planning on just bending over and taking it. So
if they cleared a zone, they won. That was what we were looking at. We weren't looking at fighting it at all. But I mean, we made them work for it. They I don't know if they ended up clearing the back. I don't know if they got through fleets. I'll check it real fast. We put Leviathan.
They cleared the Leviathans,
down. Yeah, they cleared. Well, yeah, because we don't have. They have the star advantage on us for starters on half those fights, which means like you can't even you can't destroy the ship on the reinforce. So there's that, and then on the other half is just the relics and stuff like that. Yeah.
Without the 7-star, you don't get the isolate either, do you?
Yeah, you don't get the isolate either.
It's tied to a 7-star. They love hiding all the important stuff behind the 7-star.
Well,
they really learned their lesson.
They learned their lesson. Yeah. They're like 7-star or bust. There are still people out there with a 6-star profundity. Come on.
Yeah, well, that's what we set incentive to actually invest. You need the Leviathan 7-star to get the full usability out of it, and they really learned their lesson from profundity.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying prior to Leviathan's kit release was like, well, even with the kit release, we need to know where things were star gated, because I'm like, if it destroys profundity out the rip at 4 stars, like no one's gonna push it because it doesn't need to be. But yeah, they didn't end up clearing our back walls, but I mean they still cleared 7 of the zones, and it was a slog for them. I mean it
was everything on defense.
Everything besides Slacker on defense. For GLs.
So everything on defense is what I'm hearing.
From what I hear, I mean, that theoretical GL.
Well, yeah, Slacker's just too easy to off meta, but so is everything else nowadays with TW off Omicron. So, anyways,
so if Phoenix is beating Lord Vader, then your JKL team beating your Slacker isn't exactly much of a.
That was the one fight that I actually did. Was I took Phoenix against like a maxed out Jabba, and with the Embo Omicron all R8s, and I still won. And it was because I had the TW Hera Omicron and the Datacron, obviously. But the AoE backup plan from Hera is so clutch. Oh my god, it's so useful,
I tried doing Phoenix versus Jabba in my GAC round, and I lost Sabine with 5 thermals on her, just dead. Yeah, gone.
Well, it's because you're ramping all that crit damage, aren't you? So that's going to increase the damage of the thermals. It'll be even if you've got 5, it'll just be like, bye, you're dead.
Yeah, so I didn't even put backup plan on the right person, and then Rex went like 2 turns later, and I was just like, shit.
Yep, no good. Yeah.
Oh well.
Big Sag. But hey, it's still a pretty decent counter. I love it.
Yeah,
it's fun.
So it was just a calm weekend though. There wasn't much going on. There was just kind of getting some things wrapped up and ready.
I heard they released a new legendary event this last week. I'm not even sure what it might have been. Couldn't have been anything big, right? No.
Something like that. Probably nothing really major.
Legendary. I mean, no, there was no legendary event released.
Was there not? Nothing from the Gen Guide came out.
Nothing of
there was a new
maybe.
There was a new journey event added to the
a new galactic legend.
A new galactically legend.
A galactically legendary event. Did that happen?
But it's not a legendary event. It's different.
It's a galactic legendary event. That's what I'll say.
It's not even really an event. It's just a permanently available
God,
thing.
Shut up! All right, stop pissing on my chips. Take that fucking beanie and shove it right up your ass. It was cool. All right, we had Leia. She's actually kind of neat. I actually really like her. Although it was kind of interesting.
What was cool was watching Karth waste 4 battles on that damn tier 4.
Oh my god.
Painful, man. Painful.
You know what? Looking back at it though, to be honest, Wolf, is like the reason we got the fix Friday was because of my stream on Thursday.
Yeah. Well, genuinely,
probably, yeah.
No, guarantee you. I guarantee you.
He was not the only one for the one. Yeah, and he was like, this doesn't look right.
He wasn't the only one. There was quite a few devs that started tuning in when people were like, yeah, that shouldn't be that hard. I'm like, yeah, I know.
So really, what you're trying to say, Karth, is that we did a community service there.
We did.
We did. Bringing light to the fact it was completely boned. And then we are philanthropic as fuck in these parts.
2 charity events.
Now we just need someone to do a tier guide video.
I mean, I'll be right on that. But I'm actually waiting for a call from King Charles. I think he's gonna knight me any day now. He'll be like, for services to the Galaxy of Heroes community, arise, Sir Scribble.
The world at large.
The world at large, they will acknowledge the things that I have done for this game. Because let's face it, we know that CG doesn't have a whole lot of interaction with Arnold, and Arnold was doing the event later that day. So they probably would have just ignored him if he was failing at that event.
Oh, yeah,
but we got it noticed. Yeah. We got it noticed. But that's no shame on.
He probably doesn't know what he's doing.
We even told Arnold that it was broken and that it should be fixed, and he still tried afterwards. He tried like 5 times.
Did he really do it 5 times?
Yeah, he tried it. He, as far as I know, and this is a dig at him, because
he took Bausch to R9 as well, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. But I mean, even then, I don't think I don't think he ever got Jabba into the yellow. I don't think he ever got to a lone Jabba in Phase 2.
Oh no!
God damn!
Which is still
it was so rough, right? It was so rough.
The fight's so rough. The entire thing is just an RNG crap show. It's like I don't know.
It was. Now it's breeze.
Way better now. Tier 2 is the only heartache left, and I could kind of agree. I don't like the fact that it's RNG, but with ample modding, you can kind of subvert that and go back into a little bit more of a.
If you've got some really solid mods, I think you can probably mitigate most of the RNG in Tier 2.
Yeah, I would say from what I've recommended for modding on people, they get up to about an 80 to 85% win rate, which is still better. You know, I know people that have lost. You know, I had somebody DM me yesterday who they had won the first 2, lost the next 5.
Oh God. Oh, that is brutal. Imagine pissing away all those tickets.
Oh,
I would be so sad.
Luckily, it's only a 30, which is, I mean, still, that's about as many, it would be about the equivalent of what I lost on the Tier 4.
Still, what, 150 tickets then? God damn.
Yeah, so the...
ain't no small thing.
Yeah, nope. So that was definitely one of those things where I'm like, once I tell people how to mod, or what I had done and what I found useful, their win rate went to about 85%. They're like, yeah, I won the next 4 I needed to win, and then I went back and tried it a couple times. There was still a couple RNG, but it was much more comfortable, much more consistent.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's all I'm aiming for. It's like, if you got to play the event 5 times, you lose 1. It's like, it happens. Every GL has a tier that's just kind of dumb and RNG.
The early days Ray and Slacker ones, particularly the ultimate stages, those well, actually even the early Ray battles were actually quite tricky. Like, the amount of damage that those units kicked out, they could shred you in seconds if you weren't careful. So like, I did a video on it, and I did a video around using R2-D2 in there with like BB-8 and R2-D2 to like stun the enemy team to stop them from taking turns, because as soon as they start hitting you, they will just shred you to bits in no time flat. So it used to be that you were at real risk of losing tickets in the old style. And after they buffed Slacker, I remember his ultimate tier became incredibly difficult to do. Because a lot of people that did it when it first came out, but they buffed Slacker a couple of times after that, and his ultimate tier got harder and harder, and so did Ray's as a consequence, actually.
Yeah, I know.
It was Ray's ultimate tier to fight Slacker, I think, was more difficult. For that one,
that's
right?
it. Yeah, that's
was
it.
that when they buffed it?
Yeah, so what people...
Sort of leads the question is, they said they're going to be like refunding tickets and everything. Not refunding tickets, sorry. They said they're going to have a make good of some kind of thing for everyone who wasted the tickets and whatnot. What do we think that sort of comes in the form of? Like, just gonna give you a bunch of tickets, have fun with the next Galactic Legend?
Probably just crystals, to be honest. I bet you it's just crystals. It's there's a massive trade-off with it, and this is one thing. Like, I know, like, Arnold was ragging on, just give me my energy back. I'm like, that's such a dumb thing to say, because you got so much gear, whatever you were farming while you were doing tickets, you still keep. It's like, so that's kind of a cheap way to be like, well, just give me 10,000 energy.
That's a lot of Kairos.
I mean,
that's a hell of
farming
a
anything, farming the multi-tools or the bayonets for impulse detectors. I mean, it doesn't matter. The 30,000 shard shop currency I got during the event.
I remember, what are they going to do? Like nearly 900 shards of Bausch. I think Arnold had well over 1,000. Like,
he did a few more refreshes than I did, because he went.
But I'm pretty certain he had more. More stored energy as well.
Well, he stopped at like 15k left, but he had like 1,100 Bausch shards when he did that first one. His first pull. But I mean, that's the thing, is that you got so much out of it that I think really all they're gonna look at is probably like, okay, we'll give you some crystals to replace what you lost, and then they'll probably call it a day. Or they might give you like, okay, here's a bunch of inboxes of like 50 GL tickets, redeem until you hit max, and then go back and forth. But I mean, like, if
a lot of people would have already hit that ult, right?
Yeah, but
exactly.
Well, if I don't get it by the time, like by the, I think Wednesday next week, I think is when I should be done with Leia's ult. If I don't get it by then the GL tickets are useless to me then anyways. So it's like one of those things.
It's really tricky to balance, because like, this is why I think they should just do crystals. But it would have to be a good amount of crystals. I've got to be honest, man. Like,
I would say,
because there's the extra cost of, like, you're not just hoarding like the energy and everything, you're also doing extra refreshes to get your tickets in, to get everything, because you're hoarding all of that energy. So it is a huge crystal cost. As we probably don't need to tell Karth over here, who sat there and hoarded thousands of energy.
I mean, realistically, I would say for every failed battle, you should get about 1,000 crystals back. I think that's what it should have been for that first window, because that's
so 4K crystals for you.
That's roughly what it would take in energy to replace the tickets. And then if you're already past it, you don't have to worry about it going back to it.
They should also give you, the custom title of beta tester as well. You can just apply it to your account.
That would be kind of funny.
Oh, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
That would be kind of funny.
Like, it's like, yep, okay, the beta tester program works, guys. It's Whalerick and Co.
I mean, and this is the one thing I'll give them some slack for at the Leia event, is just the fact that the event, when going from their server to the live server, something went wrong. They haven't said what it was, and I doubt we'll ever get an answer on that. But this wasn't a broken event. It was just literally like something went wrong in between loading it live and where they were testing it, because it worked fine in testing.
I imagine it was just different builds of the game. I imagine it was just different builds of the game. They pushed the wrong one, or they forgot to save some changes.
Everything is Relic 9.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's one of those.
Sorry.
It's one of those things where probably you had part of the kit or code piggybacking off something else that may or may not exist in the live server at the moment, and so then when it goes to log in, it still works, but it doesn't function the same. And so that's what changed. I mean, because we saw like Han's damage doubled. They had a lot higher base tenacity on the mod, so they were actually resisting the TMR quite a bit more frequently, which was good because I wasn't getting protection up. Yeah, so it's like they tweaked a couple things in the background for stats, but I mean outside of that, the event didn't change. I think they tweaked the thermal damage too a little bit because it wasn't nearly as potent on the. After they fixed it,
but. I distinctly remember when we were going through that mission, tier 4. Like Han was because obviously Han shoots twice. He was doing like 12k for the first one, 6k for the second shot, and then post the fix, you see it again, and he's doing like 32k, 20k. It's like he's got a big boost to that damage output, and it makes a real difference because you just like blitz through the first wave without losing hardly any protection.
Yeah, I mean,
and then the
like,
second wave, you just chew through people.
Yeah, it's just kill Boba and then clean up from there, and that's really it. Make sure Bausch hits her contract somewhere in between.
And so it's a super easy one to hit though, isn't it? Because they just have to die with thermal detonators. So her special, if that
they
kills
have
someone,
to die from thermal detonator damage.
Right, she does have
specifically.
She's a bounty hunter wolf. They've all got leads. Now here's a question for you guys.
She actually has. Go ahead.
I was just thinking about this whole difficulty spike and the correction to it. What is the general consensus? How do you guys feel about what the difficulty should be, particularly in Galactic Legend events compared to a standard Legendary? Do you think it should be hard to unlock a GL in the event? Should it be hard to get the ultimate? And should it be hard for a Legendary?
I think it should be, for the Galactic Legends, it should be a puzzle. It shouldn't be exceedingly difficult. It should not require the most ridiculous mods in the world. You're already bringing these characters up to Relic levels, to Relic 8 for some of them, to Relic 7, Relic whatever. You shouldn't have to do a crazy investment now past that and also have to go like crazy RNG, crazy ticket uses, and just burn all that stuff to make it work. A puzzle where there's like some trick you got to figure out, oh, you do it like this and you do it over here. I think that's pretty cool. That I'm absolutely down with. For a regular Legendary event, make it difficult. The JKL event, that was a great one. It took some extra relic levels, it took some extra modding, it took some whatever, but you didn't waste tickets when you were doing it. If they have a little more difficulty in those ones where you're not also burning energy and everything, I'm okay with it. Make it a challenge. The Galactic Legends, the challenge is getting all those damn signal data and the Kairos and the everything. That's the challenge, not the actual event.
And then all of the energy that you spend to get the tickets to unlock the event, and then you still need to, gear up the GL, then you still need to spend even more energy to get more tickets to get the ultimate to make the GL useful.
Exactly.
For most GLs I feel need their ult to be useful. Leia actually seems pretty okay without it, but she's even better with it. So
she's a better defensive.
Yeah, the revive and everything.
Yeah. Because it's like there are people that are doing it right now without the ultimate. She's very easy to manhandle with almost any GL. With the ultimate, it's like the second she pops the ultimate, if she gets a kill, the fight goes 100% back in her favor.
Oh, 100%.
Like it's just restarting the fight at 2 minutes left. And you're just like, oh, well, I've only eaten one person with Jabba, so I'm kind of hosed because it wasn't Drogon. Because, the odds of getting Drogon on the first eat is pretty hard. He actually does stealth fairly consistently. The only thing I kind of...
You can ignore stealth with Jabba.
You can't, you can. Yeah, you're right, you can.
We stealth?
You
can ignor stealth.
Jabba can ignore everything. Yeah, he dispels stealth. He can't ignore it, but he can dispel.
Dispel the stealth. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Ignore me.
So on his turn he dispels stealth. Same thing with JMK during his ult, he dispels stealth.
There we go.
Leia does the same thing too. I want to say she dispels stealth. But
she does. Yeah. Every
turn. It's like my encyclopedia over here. 1 second.
Yeah, for the most part of it, when it comes down to it, is like the Leia team is like, if it gets the kill, it just resets the battle. That makes it really hard. So like you can get Drogon out, but R2D2 is still a massive threat. Whatever other two G.
Oh
it's just
I've seen him doing like 300k damage. R2.
Yeah.
Like all right then.
Because he's
go R2.
75% offense on him is absolutely nutty.
Well, especially when you throw what is it, the what is Drogon's buff? I can't remember it called. It's got a weird name.
Stratagem, Keen Stratagem.
Keen Stratagem.
Sure.
Every time I think about it, I
that.
always think Strategic Advantage, and I'm like, no, that's not his buff. Keen Stratagem. Yeah, that adding 50% offense to R2D2 is just kind of like
when he
on top
has,
of everything.
When he has, it's a question of like who gets it first. I was like, yeah, is it really a question though? Like R2D2 should still be the one to get it first because he's got such a massive boost that it's just like, and it's permanent, and so it's like, well, why not just circle that one around?
Stats.
Yeah.
I don't know if uniques update throughout the battle, do they? I didn't think they did.
I'm not sure.
That one specifically says he shares his stats until he is defeated, and then he shares it again when he revives.
Yeah, so you give your team even a bigger boost, because I know like after they said they the way they got around that was it was at the beginning of each of her turns they gain a percentage of her stats, and then she gains stats based off her siphon from potency.
It's kind of curious to me. I know this wouldn't necessarily work, but Keen Stratagem gives 50% additional offense to rebels, right? It's 25% to non-rebels or something like that, or is it can only be applied? I can't remember. I'm just thinking, giving that to Ezra and then putting Master's Training on him as well, so that he's got 100% additional offense. I know throwing in Hoda into that team breaks a bunch of synergy, but I kind of want to do it anyway. I want to see how much damage we can get Ezra to do. I know, like, because I've seen him do 300k damage as well. Yeah, it's a case in point.
I see a good case for Ezra being present in the battle, because there's just so few dispels from the rebel side.
Sure.
That makes it really challenging to get around certain characters. But then it does. Then again, the thing is though, is it also doesn't matter. Because once you have called action, you just ignore taunt anyways, and you go kill who you want to go kill.
Sure.
So it's
you have it, so
well, it's literally as long as her ability is to cool down. So it's like you should always have called action. So I mean, the only thing that I can think right now on Leia is that it's a very easy team to suppress through ability blocks or
that was the big thing, wasn't it? Ability blocks really messes her up.
Ability blocks and stun, because it just slows you down so much. You can't really do anything. You can't get Keen Stratagem out. You can't get your big hits built. You just kind of sit there and stare at the wall. So it's like JML is going to hard counter her, I think, always and ever, unless they get a really potent Datacron.
Slacker is apparently like a really inefficient counter, right? It's like kind of Slacker versus Rey. It's like it gets the job done, but it's just going to be Slacker.
Like Slacker
at the end.
Yeah, Slacker. Well, and that's even if the AI could play the fight well towards when it's down to just Slacker left. Drogon can probably one-shot you if you're not in DI.
He is an absolute monster.
Karth, in what world are they not getting a crazy Datacron next set? Like, obviously, there's going to be
for sure.
No, just wreck face with it. Like,
but it's like this
not happening.
It's like this current Datacron set, though, right? Where the current Datacron set really helps Jedi, but it doesn't really do anything specifically for like a JML team at the level 9. But the level 6s are what's amplifying their potency against Leia. And that's kind of what I think we'll see in the long term here, is just like Leia's team is designed to kind of get a step ahead by eliminating somebody quickly. And they're not really, until she has the ultimate, she's not really built for long-term engagements, because the team just gets whittled down into the floor. And same thing even with JMK. You play JMK versus Leia, you just do the same thing you do versus Jabba. You just wait until you have your ult, and then by that time, Cat will have her leap, and then you just kill somebody that you need to kill. But it's the team's just really hard to kind of pigeonhole and slow down. So it's like,
I mean,
Leia's she's got some defensive viability, but I think the Kron's what's gonna make her really obnoxious on defense. I think offensively, everyone's gonna, if you want to beat her offensively, then like everyone has JML for offense. So it's like all you're doing is pulling someone's JML team, which is like there's not really a consistent GL that he needs to counter right now. So it's like, it kind of doesn't really matter. So we'll see what the next set brings that makes it that will change what kind of happens.
I'm actually concerned. I'm not sure how well JML would do against, like, say, Leia R2 Drogon in 3v3, because I'm almost feeling like you could probably straight up just kill the ads, and then you're going to have a hard time as JML, right?
Yeah, it depends.
He doesn't do very well solo now.
There's no revive prevention on the team, so you can do like Jolie and like Jedi Luke, and then just keep reviving, because Jolie is so hard to put down in the first place. His health pool is so damn large. So it's I think it's still going to be doable. It just the advantage is going into the next, when this set 9 drops off, is that we lose that massive protection spike. So JML's damage threshold is going to really come down. He's going to have to ramp through that 10 datacrons, which is going to take more time, which they may not have.
The next set has.
Yeah, I mean, it's coming soon.
Next set's going to be Rebels and online Force Fighters.
It may have protection there.
Oh, it could. Yeah,
it definitely works better.
Yeah,
like you said, these ones don't boost JML team specifically. I mean, they're good. I mean, you can't say no to like foresight boosting damage. From GMY passing foresight JML team. You can't say no to that. I mean, the damage reduction, everything. Yeah, those are not bad things. At least it's not like really him specifically. So if you find something with protection, next set, and they have a SAT over there, maybe.
That's one of the things that I've failed to actually build out at the moment, is like an extra protection set. Like, I need to get protection.
You just need a decent level. You need a level 3, which is the speed up on basic for the Jedi, so because you're going to call it the inherited teachings all the time, and then. I mean, you don't have Cal, so that one doesn't matter. But Cal with JML is really obnoxious on defense, because that speed up at the beginning makes JML just a monster. You're not going to outrun him, so good luck. But even outside of that, can they bring
him back already? I want Jedi Knight Cal back now.
Oh my God, yes, please.
I'm ready. Bring him now. Fuck everybody else that's still farming. I don't care about them. I'm ready. CG, listen to me. Release Jedi Knight Cal again right now.
It's got to be end of this month, because it was end of June.
I mean, got to be is a loaded statement, but the
it should.
It can always go the way of GI, and
2 to 4 weeks is
I hope they don't.
Now, 2 to 4 weeks is what I'm thinking they'll be right now. It should either be the last week of September or the first week of October. My guess is that it will be the first week of October, which is just a little bit beyond 2 weeks from now.
That late?
That late? That's almost exactly 90 days to when he released the first time. He was the first week of July.
I still want him now.
Was he? I thought he was in June.
Just now.
No, he started like June 30th. So I mean, technically, you're right. It was the end of June, but his event ran
before that. No, I didn't even know it was that late in June. I thought it was earlier in June. I thought it was later than that. Okay.
I haven't looked, I'll be honest.
He was the last week of. He started the last weekend of June, and then ran the full week after, which was into July.
Okay. So probably end of September, early October. That would make sense more.
Yeah. So that's what I'm thinking right now. I could see them pushing it a little bit further out to try and give, because getting into October, we're gonna start the next puzzle here sometime. The puzzle will probably launch with the because let's see, CG does their big stream in like 10 days, roughly. Their extra life stream.
Extra life thing.
Oh yeah, I totally forgot about that. Actually.
So there's a very high chance that CG launches the puzzle shortly after that. So my guess is that we're gonna lead into the what the hell do they want to call that? The Legends character event for the winter. Now there's a chance they don't do Legends. They can, but there will likely be an event character that comes out with December, and that's the next few more keys are
last
going
2 years they've done that, right? So
Mary J, I've already seen it. Calm down. But the reality is I think that we're gonna have a
event that's going to start, and the puzzle will probably come after the charity event. So they might push it a little bit to get that ball rolling. And then when that hype starts, they'll bring back the Cal event. But I mean, we'll see. I could see them definitely doing it.
Alternatively, they could just bring it back now because I want it.
Right now.
Now, CG.
Now.
Literally, I know it's Sunday.
Now.
No. So if not sooner, if not now, sooner than now. Get in your time machine and just release him yesterday, and I'll be happy.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I
want him.
Yeah, I have to get so many things. I'm actually kind of hoping he doesn't come for a couple weeks because I need on my other account. I need more time.
No,
I need to farm the relic mat.
You are
Karth,
so selfish.
let me. Have you heard about? Have you heard about my good friend Mastercard? Karth, I thought you would be intimately familiar with the workings of the credit card.
There was something that happened Friday, and
I suppose
the rest of the month's allowance to something different.
to poor kids is what you did it to. Yeah, that's much more important than getting Jedi Knight Cal.
You're a poor kid too, aren't you?
Yeah, I suppose I got a little bit as well because one of the reward tiers in that charity event was that Scribble has to finally actually get Slacker. And the joke's on you guys because now you can't make fun of me about not having Slacker because in like a month I might have him. So
I raised this as a possible. I said, you're making this sub goal or as a goal for the charity stream. We're robbing us of this running joke. Like this is seriously, you know what's happening over here.
Hey, Wolfie, how about
exactly
this?
What you're doing?
I said I would farm Slacker. I never said I would gear him. So I'm gonna unlock that fuck, and he can stay Gear 1 level 1 forever.
You know you're not going to. You know you're not going to.
Level 69. Gear 1 level 69.
You know you're not going to. That's such a waste.
I'm far too competitive to not gear up a GL. I'm not that petty.
Like I wouldn't farm it unless I had nothing else to do. But now that I'm here, I might as well just take it to the limit, right? But I mean, that's just going to be kind of how that go. I mean, it'll be fine. I mean, it'll just be a little interruption. But I mean, that's the thing too. Is like if Cal comes sooner, then it's a lot of resource dumping at the end here after a lot of resource dumping recently.
I get it, man.
But I'm hoping. Go ahead.
Something on my neck. I was just before we deviate completely from GL Leia though. How satisfying is it when you just get the turn on Drogon and you one tap someone for nearly 700,000 damage? Like that's pretty sexy, right? I've seen some pretty astronomical hits. I've seen Slacker get one tapped. That's fun.
Yeah, but it only works.
The excitement of getting that Boba hit lined up, you get like the a million protection ups on Lord Vader. You get that for like a 1.2 million, he just fucking blows up. Like it seems like that, except on turn 3. Like that. I'm looking forward to it.
That's basically how it is. That's sexy. I like it. So I'm looking forward to that when I eventually unlock GL Leia in like 4 months or something. I mean, they need to get releasing Scout Trooper and Drogon to farmable because
Scout Trooper literally just went to shipments. He will not be out until basically the middle of October, and Drogon will go into shipments in a week or 2 weeks, probably at the same time Cal comes back.
Do I have to go over this? I want it now again, Karth.
Seriously, is this your first time here? Like, what the fuck? We just went over this.
Patience. I don't do patience, Karth. I want now. Let me do the stuff.
Yeah. I want it now because I couldn't afford the now button. I just want the farmable now.
Yeah, I want it now, and I don't want to have to pay for it. CG, okay?
Yeah.
Just give me everything for free.
Yeah.
You think? I don't think that's not going to work, is it? No, CG's not just going to be like, here you go, Scribe. Have an account with everything at R9.
All right. How about this? They give us these accounts, and then we can use them to test the characters before they come out. Right?
That's a really good idea, Wolf.
Then you have all this information that you can't.
I don't know.
Utilize.
I think somebody should try that.
They should try that.
Yeah. No, but the reality is that Drogon should go into farmable at the end of October. The
2 weeks after that is roughly their 8-year anniversary, which I think is what they're aiming for the release of the new raid.
Also known as Christmas in SWGoH.
Yeah, Christmas in SWGoH. First Christmas. Second Christmas comes about 6 weeks later.
Mm.
But I think they're going to try to aim for a anniversary release of the raid, so that gives you basically about 2 weeks worth of pushing to get Leia done before the raid comes out, and then go from there. But that's kind of the projection I see going forward.
So it's lots of things, lots of stuff and things, and for once, we discussed this earlier, Karth, but for once, I'm actually not going to have enough Zetas. Like, I've had enough Zetas to Zeta anything I want, basically forever, and now I'm thinking, oh my god, Jedi Knight Cal, Malicos, and Slacker, and then GL Leia. That's like 11 million Zetas. I don't have 11 million Zeta Max.
I mean, two GLs is
Seer and to Seer and all that whole team and everything on top of all of that. Yeah, it's really.
Well, I've got Seers. Seer's already done, and so is OG Cal. But Malicos needs 3, and Jedi Knight Cal needs 3, and Slacker needs 6, and GL Leia needs 6, and then I imagine someone like Hux probably needs a fucking Zeta.
Well,
Does Hux need a Zeta?
You need
Drogon
2
Zeta probably.
He does need that, but he needs 2. Well, Drogon has 2 Zetas too, but he needs 2 Zetas.
There we go, 2 Zetas
to finish the Slacker squad, anyways. Because you need a Zeta on Hux, you need a Zeta on First Order Stormtrooper.
Yeah.
So
Ew, gross.
You're gonna have to keep Zetaing stuff, anyways. So like you're gonna need in the next like month. You're gonna need a solid
gross.
Are we sure I need Slacker really? Do I really need Slacker? Listen, I didn't give you 2 volts for nothing, Scribble.
Yeah, those words. But yeah, there's a lot of it that's just like it's going to be a massive resource drain. But I mean, if you are a month out from Slacker, let's just say that's the fastest timeline that you see it being possible, which would be mid-October. You have more than likely a chance to get about another 4 to 5 Zetas between now and then. You're already sitting at like what 180?
180 mats. Like 180 mats right now. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's 9. So that's enough for Slacker and Malicos right out the rip. And then you just need to basically come up with another 7 after that, 3 for Cal, and then
another 700. Yeah.
Another 5 after that, which is 3 for Cal and 2 for the First Order team. And then, so you should be able to get to that point relatively decently, and then it's just gonna be the Leia. It's a Leia farm that's gonna screw you because you got basically. Yeah. Well, it's still gonna unless you plan on like really pushing her through shipments, which I don't think you are.
No,
you're still gonna be like 90 days after Drogon's out before you'll probably hit, unless they put him on Cantina, which I'm not betting on.
Yeah, 8 energy Cantina node for Drogon, please.
Yeah,
let's go.
I'm actually a little surprised. Well, they might put him on a Cantina. They might put him on a higher one though, just to try to help people get caught up. Because I don't think Scout will be the. But almost every time they do a new event, they do.
They need to put Scout and Drogon on the same 8 energy Cantina node.
Ooh.
Job done.
I think, done.
Follow me for more tips.
Scribe has declared he wants it, therefore it shall happen. That is the theme of today's podcast.
Yep. And now, please. Okay, that's the rule.
And now,
yes.
So another short shipments.
The short answer is like even if they release him at the end of October, you would still probably be into January before you would be ready, unless he went to Cantina node. Just because of where how long it would take you to do Scout at the worst of it, right?
So like I'm thinking I'm gonna have to do
like a
little bit
window.
I'm gonna have to do a little bit of supplementary like shipment farming for these marquees. I think just to I'm more concerned about raid performance than I am about I need GL Leia. I'm like
light whaling. Light whaling inbound.
I think you'll find, Wolf, it's pronounced light whaling, all right?
Excuse me, light whaling.
Yes, exactly, light whaling. Yes, cool whip.
Like whip, exactly, yes.
Exactly, just like that. The lightest of whaling.
Yeah, so I mean, realistically, I would see I would see you unlocking sometime between Christmas and the first week of January, right? Like that's kind of
probably
a tentative window for
like
that.
you're saying raid performance, yeah.
Exactly. Raid performance seems to be the most important thing to me. I want to be able to jump in on that raid and hit the ground running. We know now that raids they're a short life commodity. You got to get in hard, you got in fast. We still talking about raiding? Or are we talking about something else?
I mean, we're talking about raiding. I'm just not sure
hard.
Galaxy Heroes anymore.
Fast. I don't know if fast is my repertoire.
It's a race, Karth. All right.
I mean, yeah, when I'm comfortable losing.
I always win. So, as we were saying, I want to come hard and fast into this raid. Okay? Raiding Endor. I want to be able to jump up there as soon as possibly can. I'm just saying.
I'll come hard and fast raiding this Endor, Leia.
It's an R-rated podcast. It's fine.
Right? Right.
I mean, if it wasn't before, it is now.
It's all innuendo. That's the whole takeaway.
Yeah.
Try not to be super explicit.
I'm curious, actually, Wolfie, how are you coming along, sticking with the puns here, coming along with your GL Leia phone?
Baby. We're taking it slow, man. We're letting it simmer. We're taking our time over there.
Low and slow.
Oh, you know it. No, I'm in a fucking holding pattern right now until I get Malicos unlocked. Because I got Malicos on Monday.
Oh my god.
Jedi Knight Cal eventually, and I'm just like holding gear until then. So I got some of the requirements done. I got Captain Rex is up at gear 12. Nisa is like 4 stars, almost 5 stars. Scout.
Yeah, my Nisa is struggling.
Fucking nothing. But I have all the other GLs, so I already have some of the requirements and whatnot.
Even Slacker.
Even Slacker? What? He's a GL? Hold up. Let me check my roster real quick.
Let me speak to my lawyer real quick. Okay. Yeah, so even Slacker. It's only Scribble without Slacker.
So like you have the requirements that are like the crossovers, the Rolo, the Captain Han. You have all those things that you already need for other requirements elsewhere. So a lot of the stuff, except for the new marquees, is just, hey, apply some more relic levels. Hey, bring this guy up to Relic 7 who used to be at Relic 5, and it really hasn't been all that bad for
it's a pretty easy. It's a pretty easy. All things. Once we take out of the picture that it's 4 marquees, right?
Yeah.
The rest of it is actually pretty easy,
Relic
right?
5. Cool.
It's
I've had Akbar
fine.
at Relic levels for years because I actually shipped harder and used the Home 1 fleet. And I had the guy at Relic because it was a good fleet. So I've had him. You're literally there for years.
I have also had Akbar at Gear 9 for years. I used the Millennium Falcon. I was there, but instead of putting anything into Akbar, I just took my hand Chewie to R7 and called it done. I was like, yep, that'll make me climb. And it did. I was first every day. But I'm in a much younger shard, so I mean, there is that. And plus my fleet shard is basically like an absentee father. It's just not there ever. And, I can just sort of walk in and do what I want and nobody really cares. Which is nice. It's nice. It's nice being able to just climb in fleet all the time. Doing 1 battle a day to get to first is very enjoyable. Well, I'm glad you're close. You're just holding on. Have you geared all your marquees to Gear 11 and all that sort of business? I think I prepped most of mine.
I did make sure, however, to get Lobot at least to Relic 5. I know he's required Relic 3, but want to make sure Relic 5 minimum because, let's show some respect over here. Lobot, it's Lobot. Come on.
He's got to tackle the meta. How is he going to do that at Relic 3?
Exactly. Yeah. He can't be tackling the meta at Relic 3. He's got to be minimum Relic 5. Respecters.
Something.
1,600 Kairos? No, that's fine. That's fine. Because the rest of it is already done. It's like 1,600 Kairos for the whole lot. It's not that bad. You've got 3 months to farm 1,600 Kairos. You can easily do that.
Yeah. It's pretty much standard at this point. Any new character that comes out, they have 400 Kairos. That's just it. Unless it's a legendary or somebody special like Malicos who gets 600 Kairos? Or Reva, 600 Kairos I think for them.
Reva's got 16,000 Kairos, something like that.
Herself,
there or thereabouts.
Exactly.
Yeah,
she has 1 tier, all Kairos.
Yeah, she's like 600.
It's like, insane. So have you heard about Kairos?
So I heard you like Kairos.
Gear 7 to Gear 8. Just Kairos.
It's just Kairos. It's just Kairos all the way down.
Yeah. Could you imagine? You unlock a new character, level 1, Kairos. Level 2, Kairos. You're like,
hold on.
Oh, that would be so brutal. So brutal if they did that.
Even Karth couldn't take that person to gear 12. Because you'd be like, oh shit.
I mean, I could, but it would just be... That would be the only one I could take to gear 12.
I would then have to, like, farm for a couple of days. What the fuck?
Yeah. I would be... That would put me... Because I've got about 1,000 of each right now saved up, so...
I'm just shy of 1,000 shock prods and about 500 computers.
I got like
that's all going to
300
disappear.
each. I'm doing good. Yay!
Yeah, but you have Slacker. I don't.
Yeah. I mean, and then don't you also have Afra there, Wolfie?
Propaganda. What? I do have Afra. Realistically, the only thing I don't have is Jedi Cal, Malicos, and Leia. Like that's it.
Yeah, so I mean,
I have all the other legendaries, I have all the other
quite
stuff.
a few
I've
things
just crossed over 11 million.
That
so
Scribe hasn't invested in yet. So
I don't have Afra. I mean, I'm ready for Jedi Knight Cal. I'm ready for Malicos, and I've got his team ready. You know, because who needs crew? Crew doesn't belong in any GL team, so he can go with.
No,
he can go with Malicos.
Realistically, that's
put in
not
GL to go with crew. That would be good.
They should make one, right?
There's no.
That would be nice.
There's no hard requirement though for crew to go with Slacker. I mean, it's like he's a good tank for the team, but like for what you need to do offensively, he doesn't. Slacker just needs a tank.
Listen, Cuff, you're not helping me here because, like, what's going to happen is I'm going to get Slacker. I'm going to unlock Slacker, and then you're going to be like, so, how's your Dakar and zombie looking? And I'll take a look at my Gear 10 zombie, and I'll be like, God fucking damn it, man.
You don't even need
Gear
that,
12
though.
Dakar.
You just slap, set under there, and you're pretty much the same place as crew. I mean, it's not the damage. I
mean, I do have an R7 set.
Yeah, it's not the dots. The dots will still cause problems.
He's usually babysitting C.
I mean, he doesn't need to though. Like that's all I'm saying is like it's like you have a lot of flexibility about what happens with crew with Slacker on offense and what happens with C on offense. So there's wiggle room. You don't get stuck.
Well, like right now they have the 65% dispelled debuff one, so you don't always need the tank tech on C. You can get away with just doing like I did against Malgus the other day. Just took C and set a 65% dispel cron, and that was it. I got ability blocked, and then cleanse the ability block. And just
all you need is that 65% to trigger once, and theoretically that should happen once every other turn. So
that's all you need.
At least, and then you melt them all into the ether with unlimited power and win.
But like you said,
I'm not big brain enough.
It gives you the options.
Yeah.
Like I said, it gives you the options. There's a lot of offensive flexibility with the dark side GLs. You know, Slacker and C. Where are you throwing what? Where are you throwing armor? What are you doing with that? Again, Datacron dependent over there.
Yeah.
Who knows if crew ends up being in the Malicos team, or if you're
Shut up, Night Fox.
Maul on the team, or what you do. But yeah.
Night Fox has taken the piss out of the fact that I timed out against Set with C earlier.
I've seen that like too many times.
I think people were distracting me. Maybe I'm going to blame it on people talking in my ear. I was trying to do GAC and everybody kept on fucking talking. I was like, shut up, guys! I'm trying to lose this battle here. Come on.
Was anybody with you during that time?
Was there like 3 people in VC or something? I don't know.
Yeah, people kept on talking about everything but my GAC. So I was like, okay, fine, it's okay. People just come over here to watch me do GAC, and they listen to Tweedledee and Tweedledum talking about the plants in their garden. I'm like, fuck, guys, seriously, time and a place.
That was Jedi Academy yesterday. People talking about plants. What are we doing, folks? Yeah.
Oh, I'm growing some hydrangeas. Hydrangeas? I can say that word. Hydrangeas. Hydrangeas. You drained me? I drained you. I drained you, buddy. We're right back on the sex jokes, guys. Welcome to Tribe Talks, where we are as mature as a 16-year-old who's never...
We're as mature as they come.
Oh, so top tier, Wolfie. I love it. We are as mature as they come. Yeah. Mm-hmm. First in that race every day.
Shit. Anyways.
So we're going to introduce this very new, very brief segment of giving props where it's due to CG and talk about the fact that they did fix that Leia bug very quickly. So congratulations, CG. Very happy for you. You did a good job.
How did I'm going to completely derail this, but it just came back to my mind.
It's fine.
How did your tweet go?
Oh my days! Let me actually just check. Let me actually just check because I haven't followed up on that. I'm almost a little scared to. I'm hoping.
Geez. Yeah.
I'm hoping it like people have ignored it.
I mean,
funny enough, I'm having a look through and nobody seems to have liked that tweet.
I'm not surprised.
I wonder why that might be.
For reference to those of you at home that weren't on the charity stream, and we'll talk a little bit about some of the things that I need to do as a result of this charity stream. But one of them, the first thing was that essentially the chat gets to write a tweet. And I put some provisos around this. I said, chat, you can say anything, but don't be racist or culturally insensitive or, get me cancelled in general. Because, I'm willing to do a lot for charity, but sacrifice myself is not one of them. I don't want to become a martyr. Well, it wasn't too bad. It was, well, no, they made some suggestions that wasn't quite kosher, but they went for Donald Trump for president and Meghan Markle should be queen. Now, let's be clear. I am not a political individual. I don't like politics. I'm not a politics guy, all right? And I don't give a shit about the monarchy. I don't care. I don't dislike them, but I don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? But that sort of shit is going to rise some people. and oh, it had 5 likes and 1 comment. And the 1 comment was, why Meghan Markle? She seems unworthy.
I think part of that it came across pretty hard and quick that was a joke. Because there's just no way. There's just no way that the average person would put those two together and be like, that's not going to be real. Especially the thing too is that you're a UK citizen talking about US politics, and I think at that point people just immediately will check out anyways.
All I know is that Donald Trump is like part human, part orangutan, part what's it, and that's about it, right?
Yeah.
Filed for bankruptcy several times, but claims to be, one of the greatest businessmen on the planet. Something like that, right?
Something like that.
He has said some questionable things.
What I do hear though is that Scribe has to go wear a bikini.
Ooh, yes.
It's so much worse than that.
That's a lot more fun to talk about. That's
more fun. It's so much worse.
Honestly, I want you to get the Boobly Eye one. That one looks amazing.
Okay. So I'm actually okay with the googly eyes. I'm not okay with the elephant trunks. All right.
Come on,
I'm not quite on board with.
Googly eyes top with an elephant trunk bottom. Right, that would be hilarious.
So this is one of the other tiers for like, I don't know why I thought this was a good idea to have as a charity goal tier. Was the chat gets to pick my next YouTube short. And again, I put the same provisos. Don't get me cancelled. Nothing racial, nothing insensitive, nothing anti-LGBTQ, nothing like that. And the chat comes up with, I have to do a YouTube short in a bikini in public. That could still get me arrested.
If you slap somebody with your elephant trunk, then yeah. But other than that, walking around like a doofus isn't going to get you arrested.
It's for charity, and I'm comfortable with my sexuality. I'm just not comfortable with my bits flapping in the wind. Bikini bottoms are not designed for a man's physique.
Wore a Speedo before, and they're similar.
So when I was 6, maybe Princess Consuela banana hammock. Yeah, so it's gonna be. I've been told about tape apparently that I can use
I'm saying just go full Borat, like the big green thing, banana hammock. Yeah.
The mankini, rocking the mankini. Yeah, going into the local, my corner shop and getting a vape or something in a mankini. The thing is my corner shop, and make no no stereotypical jokes about this, but they're owned by Indian people, and I have a feeling that if I go in there wearing a mankini, I might not get served. I would say it.
The service provided would not be what you would look for.
Yeah. So essentially, I didn't make smart choices when I set these tiers for the charity. I have to do a hot challenge. Originally, we were going to do a hot chip one, but then we found out that it killed someone, and I'm not willing to die for the sake of charity.
That particular chip killed somebody.
Realistically, that chip, I've done that one like 3 times. Yes, it killed somebody. I'm not going to dispute that, but Ram did it. You can figure it out, all right? I think you'll be all right. I think you'll survive.
You're not selling it to me, Wolf. Like, is that why Ram is the way he is? Is because he did that hot chip?
No. Ram is the way he is because he was tied to the back of a wagon as a child.
I did it.
That was the C-section. Pulled out of the uterus by a wagon.
Oh, God.
The last 3 or 4 years, I've actually gotten the chips, and we'll do them at work. Like, a few guys at work will go in and we'll get them. Like, at the end of the day, we'll do the chip whatever challenge, and then I'll drive home after that and just hang out and be good for the rest of the day. Like, it's really
it's not that bad, huh?
It's really not that bad. Like, let's be very, very clear.
If you have a decent tolerance for spice, then it's not that big of a deal.
Well, I mean,
it's pain levels. It's nothing to do with the flavor. It's just about inducing.
I can imagine
pain.
Somebody isn't expecting some sort of spicy stuff, and I didn't look up the details of the person who died, but I can imagine somebody has a heart condition, somebody has a something, and something is just it just causes.
People can have a reaction to anything, right? It can happen, and I don't want to diminish what happened to this poor individual. It's obviously a tragedy, but I'd like to think that 90% of the blame doesn't probably lay with this chip, but I also don't. I'm happy. I'll still do a challenge. It just I won't do that particular one. I'll just do a different one. And I've got a decent spice tolerance. In my 1-year anniversary, I did, for some reason, it was Da Bomb, The Final Answer on Weetabix. And that was a healthy sprinkling of that, and that's 1.5 million Scoville. That's pretty hot. That was pretty hot, and there's a very good reason why I did that at the end of the stream and not the start of the stream, because the next day was not pleasant. The next day was not pleasant at all. No. It's a cautionary tale. Honestly,
was Charizard having a flamethrower from the other end?
It really was, but honestly, that wasn't the worst part. The worst part was actually in the stomach, man. Like sure it was hot, but the worst part is you just got cramps. I had cramps for like a day in my stomach. Like, my stomach was not fucking happy with me. It was like, what the hell, dude? What did you put in me?
I had tried the bomb thing. I had to go and lie down afterwards. Like, it was really bad. And just check the pocket chip is only 1.7 million. Like, it's not even like you tried the bomb, which was 1.5 or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, the pocket chip is not that spicy.
Oh, okay.
Like, there's a lot spicier chip. There's a lot spicier challenges that you can get.
I'll still do a spicy challenge. I just need to find one. Any listeners, jump onto my Discord, give me a suggestion, ping me in there, whatever, send me a hot challenge, and I will do it. I'll do it live, because that's how you guys want to see it happen, right?
Grid did the death nut a while ago.
Grid took a nut, huh? Swallowed a nut. Gotcha. Yeah, right to the face. I like it. Props to Mike. I actually saw that. He was practically throwing it. Wasn't he like dry retching? He was like, what?
Pretty much.
Dry heaving.
This is your future.
Yeah. You love him, though. You gotta love him. Yeah.
Oh, fucking legend.
Yeah. So I mean, there's that one to do too. What else? Are you doing the GAC defense this go around?
It's not enough time. Not enough time. So we've got a couple of teams. So again, people jump into my Discord. I've got a channel specifically dedicated to setting stupid GAC defenses. Anything goes, provided I have it. If you ask me to set Slacker, I'm going to slap you. All right. But we've had all hands on deck. So a team of 5 hands, walking carpet, 5 Chewies. We've had JMK with Cup with absolutely no other Galactic Republic units. We've had Oh God, what else is there? There's been some really stupid teams. There's been a Cad Bane lead with a bunch of bounty hunters, but that's kind of like the least of my concerns. Oh, there's been a Leviathan with 3 Millennium Falcons, Ebon Hawk, and Razor Crest. So I've got no ships to use, basically.
Ruin all your fleets in one
Yeah, just
go.
just take the key ship out of each fleet. So I can't use anything.
Oh, you could.
Yeah, so anything goes. Oh, there we go. C with JTR, Scavenger Ray, Crew, and Ben Solo. C with the team that assaulted him, basically. That's fine. It just ruins my Ray team and my C team and my Ray team and my other one as well. So good times. So yeah, I'm open to it, and it'll be round 1 of next week. Obviously, we'll fill out the board with the stupidest shit, and then I have to see if I can actually kill anything on offense. And watch with confusion as my opponent just looks at my defense and goes, "What? What? Oh, we've had Ewoks and Jawas as well, of course. Ewoks with no Nisa allowed. It doesn't really matter because all my Ewoks are like gear 11 anyway, so they're not going to hold in cargo 1.
They're going to get rolled.
Even if Nisa was there.
JMK with Jawas, right? JMK with Jawas and something like that, right? Makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, we've already had JMK with Cup. My Cup is gear level 1, level 69.
Ooh.
And 3 non-Galactic Republic, but I guess I get to choose what they are. So
the best investments were being made right here. I tell you that, folks.
Oh yeah. Somebody actually gave me a team that actually works. They gave me like what is it? It was a dash lead with Cat and IG-11 and Queel and Bam. I was like, but that's actually a decent team. Like,
it is.
I know it's taken away my Cat, but that's it. It's an expensive team, but it's a decent team. It's like, I don't think you're playing this game right. You should have gone Cat lead for 1.
I mean, I don't think you understand how this works.
I think setting the defenses could just be also about theory crafting teams that are good. They just don't. They're just too expensive to run. I mean, Bam and Cat and Dash together is a very solid team. It can punch against a lot of things, but
don't not let him get into Whistling Birds because you're probably going to lose something.
Yeah, the extra offense from Cat. Oh yeah.
50%, man, is huge.
Oh
it's
no.
Huge.
Oh yeah.
And
Drogon's like, yes, it is huge. And mine's locked.
Yes, it is. And he's not talking about his hand. Nope.
Oh god.
Yes, it is huge.
Oh man.
I heard you like potency.
Yeah. Baby.
Baby.
Flipper in all the sea.
Yeah,
But
so we had some fun challenges. And of course, one of the tiers of the challenges was I Must Farm Slacker, which we are now doing, regrettably.
Yeah, and then you got your little playthrough was the last one?
Yeah, I've got to do a run-through of KOTOR 2, so that starts on Thursday. So if anybody likes KOTOR 2 and wants to see me play.
KOTOR 2 is actually a good riot. Just make sure you have... You get it through Steam, and then make sure you put at least the content restored mod on the game.
Okay. Yeah. I'll put the content restored mod on.
There's like 5 hours of gameplay that comes back with that mod. You don't see a lot of it till later game, but there's quite a bit that comes back.
Well, the thing is I'm not entertaining enough to gather a crowd whilst playing anything other than SWGoH. So when I start playing KOTOR, the last thing I need is adding an extra 5 hours to the content.
But it's narratively it's much more enjoyable to have because there's entire plot holes that go away.
Speaking of adding extra hours to content, the last question that I have for you from the charity stream is when, good Sir Scribble, is the 24-hour stream?
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, well done, Wolfie. Actually, yeah, that was another one. We're doing a 24-hour stream. So I have to find a date for that. It can't be next weekend because I am visiting Mrs. Scribble's family in Manchesterville.
Someone's asking for permission. What?
So I'll have to be the weekend after, I guess. So yeah, I will find a slot, but it will be there. We will do a 24-hour stream, and it will have community games. So we're going to be talking stuff like Gartic Phone, Cards Against Humanity, Fall Guys, all that sort of business.
Shoot for the last weekend, because then you might be able to do your cow unlock during that time too. I wouldn't be surprised if he comes back out on the 29th of September.
Yeah.
So that would launch it on Thursday and it'd run through the first week of October. So that would be almost nuts on 3 months exact. So So I could see that. That wouldn't be a bad one to run, or the first week, or do it the next weekend on the weekend of the 7th.
For sure.
I'll
find a date for it and I'll communicate it through the Discord. It'll be fun. It'll be a fun time. I like a good 24-hour stream. It's
well, there's if you do it the week of October 1st through the 7th, if you do like on the weekend of the 7th, then it'll be rest week, so there won't be any GAC, but there will be Conquest. So
it'll be new Conquest as well. We'll be getting our Moff Gideon, right?
In theory, it is not confirmed that it's Gideon, but I don't know why they would have told us Gideon was coming as a Conquest unit if he wasn't going to be the next one. But
yeah, it feels like a bit of a bait and switch if they like give us somebody else in the meantime. Like,
I mean,
teased Gideon, and
it may well be my OCD, but it is actually grating me that we haven't had a light side Conquest unit in forever.
I was waiting for you to say that. Yeah.
It triggers me. It triggers me,
and that's the reason why I think there's still a window that they don't actually release Gideon next. That they're going to let more people get Scout Trooper before they worry about Gideon's release. They were just giving us the heads up that Gideon was coming, that there will be a new Imperial Remnant team to run. But it honestly makes the most sense for Gideon to start in January.
Fair enough.
Because we know going into December, it's likely the Legacy event, or whatever that ends up being, right? Likely the Legacy. And so unless they go with a like Mando Season 3 themed, like fall quarter into winter quarter kind of thing, then I could see them pushing Gideon until then, and then start next year with a new push for a new legendary event with something from Season 3 of Mando or whatever else they want to push. But we got to be circling back at some point into January of next year with Mando Season 3 and or the Ahsoka show. So I would be highly surprised if we did not cycle somewhere into some Mando Season 3 content and into the setting up some stuff. So
fair enough.
There's
so much from Mando Season 3 that they can bring in as well. There's loads of I want a Paz Vizsla, man. Give me Paz Vizsla. Now,
they need to build out
big old Gatling gun, dude.
A full-on light side Mando team that actually because that's what I'm thinking is either we get either Darksaber Bo-Katan as the rightful leader of Mandalore, which would be great, and that would be a legendary event. I could see them doing is having having Moff Gideon be the Conquest unit in January that goes through March, have the other characters for her squad and potentially some new characters for Gideon's squad release in over the fall or winter and spring months, and then have the legendary event in June be new Bo-Katan.
Sure.
But I could see that happening for sure.
Okay. Yeah, I mean it's fair enough. Who do you guys like to see out of Mando Season 3 outside of Paz Vizsla? Because obviously Paz Vizsla. But yeah, let's hear some ideas.
Due for a new Bo-Katan, because realistically, she did feature a lot in the new everything. So it really would make sense to see a new version of her, something slightly updated. Whereas the other one, it feels a little bit more like the old Bo-Katan, but then realistically, I don't know what else they would do with her kit that they wouldn't have on there otherwise. I mean, give her the Darksaber maybe, and have an updated kit like that sort of realm. So that I could definitely see. I mean, they have to give us what is it, IG 12?
12, yeah. That'd be good.
Grogu's unit over there, with Grogu chilling there.
That's a gimmick character. I don't know if he'll do it. I don't know.
Iron Man Grogu. Iron Man Grogu.
So, Mecha Grogu. I can imagine laughing at it.
Mecha Grogu.
I mean, it would just be a similar kit, kind of to how Chupio works, right? It's just having two combined units on the same unit itself.
No,
they could. I just don't know if that would be what I'd want to have for Bo-Katan leading, because then it feels like if that's there, then we need another version of Mando with that team, because that would be, you'd have to build a Mando that's built for Mandalorians, not for scoundrels.
Then give us Beskar Spear Mando. We never got Beskar Spear Mando.
But Beskar Spear Mando doesn't exist in Season 3.
They keep on doing stuff to...
Grogu's armor.
They keep on doing stuff to Mando in the TV series that stops us being able to make cool versions of him in this game. It's like, he gets a Beskar spear. I'm just going to melt it down and make a little chainmail suit for Grogu. He gets the Darksaber. I'm just going to give it to Bo-Katan. So now we've just got the same goddamn Mando. It's like, come on, give him an upgrade.
In fairness, he did have it for a substantial amount of time. It's just unfortunate that time was in the Book of Boba Fett and not... Because he actually had it for like 2 years. Like he actually had the Darksaber for a lot longer than he had the spear. He had the spear for like a month and had at least the sword for like a year or more. So
the upgrade was the friends he made upon the way.
Oh my god!
The power of friendship.
We definitely need
a few. Capable of being pissed at them for bringing chainmail into the show, so I'm okay with them melting down to the spear to make chainmail. So I'm not capable of being mad at them for bringing chainmail.
Do you like chainmail?
I don't think enough changed with the armor to get a new version of her, but I would like to see Paz Vizsla get in there, and then Axon, the girl, I can't remember her.
Yeah, Axwoves, and what's her? What's the other? Yeah, I forget the other girl's name, but Axwoves would be awesome.
Because I feel like that's kind of her, like Bo-Katan's core little group, and then adding a couple of the characters from the Mando's clan, I think, would be a kind of a fun little setup to have.
You can make a team for Bo-Katan to lead, and it can have Paz Vizsla, and it can have Axe Wolves, was it? And then you could just throw in the original armorer, and that can make a team. You know?
Yeah.
That's fine.
Realistically, we're talking about a new Bo-Katan, but the current Bo-Katan gets thrown by the wayside because she's useful on a Maul team. And Maul is useful
just for survivability,
Vader.
Right? Like she's got an AoE cleanse or dispel and daze, right?
Yeah.
Which is quite useful. Yeah. And then it's the healing that she provides to the team that's super useful, right?
Yeah, but
she's useful on a Maul team, but Maul is useful on a Lord Vader team. So a Lord Vader team is a lot more impactful for your whole GAC, for your everything, than your Maul team might be with Bo-Katan. So Bo-Katan ends up riding the bench a lot of the time. I hate to admit it, but she just shows there and does nothing.
95% of her value comes from her Zeta, and if you're not in a team that has, so if they make a new leader for Mandalorians, they have to have the same attack out of turn mechanic, otherwise she just goes to complete useless.
They could just have the Mandalore again. I mean, they just recycle the same ability that they have.
They could. They definitely could. They definitely could. I'm not opposed to that at all either. Yeah. I'm just saying that they would have to have a new way for that to take effect, and then they could do it. But I mean, if you did Bo-Katan plus her two lieutenants, let's call them, just for shorthanding it here. And then like Paz Vizsla as a tank, and then I honestly think the armor would be the best last slot.
It'd be like they're fighting for it. Like they're fighting for the Mandalore. Like, oh, they have the tag and it passes around, and I do a Master System, and now I'm the Mandalore. No, fuck you, I'm the Mandalore. Like maybe like they do something in that over there.
They just hand it around the Darksaber to anybody. Like, you can have it on.
I think it could be fun. Like, fuck you, I'm the Mandalore now, bitch.
I mean, it would be interesting, but I think a full team for light side Mandos would be nice, and I think actually, in reality, I would like to see them have a kind of split with a full dark side too. I know Maul is gonna, it's hard to take out a Lord Vader teams. You can do it, but Maul might have multiple homes after this. After
Malicos comes out,
after Malicos, there's multiple homes there because of how that. Well, I mean, there was already footage on the SWGoH event server of it beating JMK.
Yep.
So which is nutty, but it's still not 100% yet. We're still working on ironing all that stuff out because you do have to lose somebody out the rip. But
it's JMK.
Yeah, but it still beats JMK.
It's gonna happen.
Or still could. And so that's a pretty cheap off counter. We don't know what it can beat without, taking Maul. There could be something else that it could change. I think in TW it's going to be a massive punching up machine. It's going to tear through a lot of different characters, especially with the current Datacron set. Just for allowing Fulcrum to have so many buffs and just go, meh, kill everything. So
that could be a lot of fun. But yeah, the mall has some potential to go other places after this update, and so I kind of want to see at some point, honestly, them to rework GAR and ISC into like leading.
I'd love that. Yeah, rework GAR.
Well, that's everyone's kind of thinking.
I still love the disparity in your freaking ship over there.
Yeah,
that's one of my favorite things about your account.
my Relic 9 GAR, my level 1 ISC Gear 1.
Yeah,
it's level 50.
It's actually like a big enough of a difference that your gauntlet is at the right speed, so you can like do some sort of counters. Because like if you get them too high of a relic, then it's too fast, and then you outspeed some things. But you need to, I forget which counter it is, but I think it's like versus
the profundity.
Exactly,
it's a happy coincidence. I like to call it. Serendipitous is what it is.
One of my favorite things about your account.
It's just, and that's never going to change until ISC is good.
I don't think they will, but there has been talk about them reworking ISC to be the Imperial Super Commando from Mando Season 3.
Yeah, fair.
But I don't see that one happening because I think that's a great marquee opportunity for CG. So I'm like, I don't see it. But I mean, they would have to add the Imperial Remnant tag if you wanted to work under thing. But I mean, there's a strong possibility that BAM. Not BAM, BAG. That's what they're calling them. BAG, Beskar Armor Gideon.
Beskar Armor Gideon. Have you got the bag yet? Grab your bag.
Me, I'm going with GBA. Gideon parentheses Beskar Armor. Will not be confusing at all. GBA.
No, it won't be.
Yep.
but yeah, there's a chance there that they give him some Mando lead synergy or dark side Mando lead synergy to kind of pull GAR and stuff around, and then give us multiple teams. But I mean, I doubt it's going to be a heavy part of the kit because again, they did come out and say outright that they have a new Imperial Remnant leader that is supposed to be the Beskar Armor Gideon.
Exactly.
So it's like, I don't see a ton of crossover, but I could see them reworking those characters to kind of give you some flexibility on the team, because it's like they're just kind of useless otherwise. I mean, like they're not even good in a mall team anyways.
No,
they have some advantages, but I mean, it's the epitome of like if Maul was already going to win that battle anyways, you're just adding filler.
They don't fundamentally change what that team can and cannot beat. It's they're there.
No,
they have
not
a ship.
Not compared to like what Bo-Katan and Candyman do for the team. It's far more deadly.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. That's the sad truth about the Mandalorian faction in general, right? Is like if you're not running Maul lead, you're not really beating anything. You can't really use Maul lead if you're running Lord Vader. And then if you use a Maul lead and you don't have, if you're using Maul and you don't have Candrass in there, it's not a team. So it's like, really it's got very limited flexibility and very niche use. It's kind of sad. But to close out this particular agenda item, the unit I want to see come to the game, apart from Paz Vizsla, because Paz is Bay, I want Paz in the game. It's got to be Praetorian Guards. Bring the fucking Praetorian Guards in, man. They are cool. Why do we not have them? I know we've got Royal Guard, but I want Praetorian Guards. They have much cooler weapons than that stupid staff. You know what I mean?
Boop.
Bring him in.
But he pokes you. He pokes you.
Boop. I mean, he does. Yeah, it does. Yeah, he does. He does the pokey business. He jabs you, and it's a shocking experience. It impales you with his
But
thing.
How do they choose what weapon? Like, do they give him like the double-bladed, like crazy things? Like, does he get a chain weapon? Does he get a flail?
How about
this? What are we talking about here?
They work it like they work Dark Trooper, right? You know, I'm talking B1. You get stacks, but instead of stacks, it's you change into a different version of the unit. So you have the staff one, and then you have the dagger one, and it's like Cal Kestis. You know, you change forms.
I was gonna say a little bit like Jedi Cal, yeah.
Yeah, but it's almost like you're rotating between three of them.
I can dig it.
And then maybe one of them has like stunning abilities, or it's got like almost like a semi-fracture ability. He wraps around his kunai with chain, and he like, you know, ties him up, and then he has the dagger disappear, or he could have stabbed Rey in the back of the neck, but didn't because he
This sounds
lost
like
his
an
dagger.
absolute essay of a kit that we are crafting right now. This is like
Welcome to Galactic Legend Leia.
Fucking essay.
We've already got one book, but have you had 2 books? Yeah.
Have you
I don't know.
considered 2 books?
You say our kids
That
are
would be a
like
lot of fun, though,
encyclopedias. Now they are literally like 2 encyclopedias. Yeah, I'm absolutely. I just want to see some Praetorian Guards in the game, and maybe they could be a sea lifter. Who knows?
I mean,
just
I would
bring them
be
more stuff.
I would be for it. Yeah, I like the idea though. Do like a dark trooper kind of thing, and then have stance switching. So they can kind of go back and forth what they do, but.
Or differently, if they want to go away from the stance switching, what they could have is they could have 3 stacks, but as you kill a stack, it turns into a different one, and each version is stronger than the last version. So as you're killing it, it becomes harder. It hits harder. Or, yeah, right? Like that'd be kind of cool. Just something different.
The hallway scene where that was a really, really cool scene. People rag on like that season a lot, but it had some really, really cool moments. And one of those was that hallway scene where he literally is going through like leveling up, and he like faces level 1.
That was
and
sick.
Like he goes and collects their weapons, and then like, all right, we got it, cool. Now I've leveled up. I got my shield, I got my this thing, and now I got my blaster, and he keeps on like getting better as he goes through. That was a really, really cool that
was cool.
For a thing.
But I am a simp for hallway scenes.
Oh my god!
I'm 100% a simp for those. Yeah.
If they work something into that,
I know what they should do with the Praetorian Guard is work it like Malik's lead. So
Malik is a lead?
You say
no, Malik himself, not sorry, I am all over the road.
Malik lead. I got really confused.
Not Malik lead. Sorry, but Malik's unique is what I'm aiming for. But basically, do a reverse. Do a stack thing. So what you do is that you have 3 stacks of Praetorian Guards, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then as you defeat a Praetorian Guard, the unique so it does a Fennec thing where like Fennec gets her. She gets bonuses for the lack of allies. So then give it a unique that becomes more powerful the less stacks there are.
Yeah.
So it's like they get their health cut in thirds, like their stats cut in thirds for every stack. But when it's down to the last stack, then they're like a full-fledged tank, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then have
we were
that
just saying saying the same thing, just like with the different weapons, working that into it, just for
for
the visual effect.
It becomes harder. It should be like you kill a stack, it gains a bonus turn, and its abilities are changed to this, and this. It gains 50% additional health, defense, and offense, something like that. It'd be cool. So that when it gets to the last one, it's kind of like, oh shit, somebody's gonna die. That would be cool.
We are
absolutely
on the same page.
Nihilus is
back in one
really necessary for that counter.
Was that? What'd you say, Garth?
I said Nihilus will become very necessary for that counter.
Oh my god, right? The insta-kills are, Although, hold on, I always forget, does the insta-kills work with the stacks?
It depends how they do it. Technically, no.
Well, we'd have to see how they would actually work the stacks in there, because I feel like the insta-kills sometimes don't work properly with the stacks. Like, I don't think you can insta-kill B1.
No. Some characters can't be instantly defeated. But so I know the Mark 6 interceptor can be instantly defeated by another Mark 6 interceptor. So it depends on how they would word the kit.
Okay. So however they code it, however they decide they want it to function. All right. But that is definitely a possibility. But yeah, I really, really, really like that idea of a progressively stronger sort of thing as they're getting through their stacks. Because the Dark Trooper gets progressively weaker as he's going through his stacks. He's doing less damage. He doesn't get less health or anything. He's just doing less damage output because there's less stacks of Dark Trooper.
Yeah.
So I think something that gets harder and harder and harder as you start doing more damage to it, I think that sounds like a really cool concept. I mean, he can't recover the extra stacks or anything, but I think that sounds.
But he doesn't need to. You almost want him to give with having his kit change as you go though. It's going to be like a kind of a Leia mechanic, right? Where you don't want it to get to that point until you're ready to deal with it. But if you let it out there in the open too long, it's going to just mess you up. Let's say it's a paper Drogon at 3 stacks, and Darth Malik at 1, where it's just it's impossible to kill him unless you can. He's the only thing left. But if you let him sit there at 3 stacks, he's going to start one tapping your team, and then just have a field day with that interaction. It would be a lot of fun.
I tell you, that would actually be pretty cool if they did something like, say, this unit has got an undispellable, not damage immunity, but like unkillable shield. So the only way you can damage him is if you attack under protection, and there's only a few units that can do that. We're talking like SAS or Set, but like it's almost like a puzzle in order to if it's a Sith, right, and he's in ultimate,
right,
which I mean he might be a Sith, they could throw that in there, but I think it'd be really cool to make it like you have to have a specific each phase of it has a different solution that you need to solve, otherwise it either becomes unkillable or it's going to hurt you real bad. Like maybe it's got really high, I don't know, like special offense or something like that, and something like that, just to make it a little bit different. I like kits that are a puzzle. It'll be cool.
Yeah, I'm for it.
I'm down for it.
So yeah, that would be the last unit that I want to see. I definitely want to see Paz, and I definitely want to see Praetorian Guards. I think that would be great additions to the game. And obviously, we already talked about ISC and how we could have essentially the version of like the Beskar armor stormtroopers, essentially, aren't they? Like jet troopers or whatever you want to call them. They were cool. From the newest Mando. They called them the upgraded Dark Troopers, but they were literally just Imperial Super Commandos. They were. Yeah.
Armor. Like that was that. That's all they were. That was it. Like that was the entire thing. It could be good.
It was like the first version of Dark Troopers that were still piloted by humans. Was kind of like the vibe they were going for with that one, but they were clearly just ISCs. So
it just feels weird to call them the next generation of Dark Trooper when it's just
they should have just painted their armor black. I'm sorry, like having it all white like that. They're Super black.
Commandos. Sorry,
Super Commandos. Yep, I'm sorry. Yeah, yep. As much as they were, we've discussed it before, but like as much as there was to dislike about Mando Season 3, there was plenty in it that was still good.
For me, there was a lot of great moments.
The biggest disappointment for me was that I think it was just highlighted by the penultimate episode of Mando Season 3 was so good that the last episode fell flat. It was like the episode before was incredibly hype. It was a really good episode. And then it ends on a really good cliffhanger. And it ends like oh shit. Shit's about to get real for Din, And then the next episode starts. And he immediately escapes his confines and gets weapons and starts killing people.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. It's just like, oh God, what's gonna happen? Oh no, he's done for, and it's just like, okay, so he's fine now. Don't worry. I know you're worried, but don't worry, he's fine.
Yeah, don't worry.
Stop.
Gideon captured him and then ordered him to be taken to the prison within 6 seconds and just walked away. And he just beat up his guards. He's like, okay. Why don't you just try and execute him right then?
Maybe walk him to the cell, make sure that your mortal enemy, whatever, is going to actually make it there.
Yeah.
It felt a little bit contrived. What you gonna do?
Well, and like
that is, I forgot about that.
That's why I honestly waited until the last episode came out and I watched them both together, and it was far better pacing going immediately to the next one and not waiting that week. Like, the episode's not the same. But having them watching them together, it just made the tension
if
not.
If they'd have just bundled ridiculous. It together, like literally, just like that, have it like a 2-hour-long episode or an hour and a half, however long that would be. Just throw them together, and that's the last episode. Much better. But like, it just felt like you finished that episode, and it was so good. It was like Paz Vizsla doing the sacrifice thing, and Mando getting captured, and like the stakes were high, and you see Moff Gideon in his Beskar armor, and it's like, that's so cool. Like, it was a really cool ending, and then it just
and that was also remind me, was that the one where like they set up sort of the one where like there was like the spy, and what's his name is like going flying up with his rocket pack up to warn them, and like we're wondering like is he actually going to warn them, like who's the spy, like what's going on, like there was a lot of tension in that episode.
He turned out to be a badass, though. I mean, to be fair.
Oh yeah,
he turned out to be a fucking badass. Like that was cool.
But there was so much tension, so much build-up, so much everything, and it was just like, Actually, just everyone calm down.
And
nothing to worry about.
I guess I don't know how we got onto Mando season 3, but it happened. Welcome to this SWGoH Tribes Talk.
New SWGoH characters. That's what we did.
Do you think that Moff Gideon is actually dead? Do you think he's gone? I don't know, honestly. Like, all we saw was fire.
No,
he died in a fireball.
Moff Gideon is 100% dead until they decide he's not dead.
Somehow Moff Gideon returned.
The only reason I'll say that he's dead,
and then they can bring him back whenever they want to,
is he died on screen.
But did he die on screen? We didn't see him die. We saw him covered in flames.
We saw a fireball.
I didn't see a body, damn it.
Did you see the melted Beskar?
No, but the short answer is that
the platform beneath him was still there. Where's the Beskar?
I mean, was it? Because the whole facility is destroyed at the end of it.
I'm just picturing Gideon sort of, this fireball comes around and he goes, fuck this shit, I'm leaving. And he just walks off. And that's
shit, I'm out.
No, but it's literally the way I would say is that he's probably dead because he dies on screen. Anytime they don't want somebody to come back, the only character they ever killed on screen and come back was Maul.
Palpatine wants to say hi. Palpatine got thrown down a fucking vent and exploded.
Yeah,
he somehow returned.
Him die, though?
I mean, you do see him getting consumed by energy as he falls into the pit, so I would say yes.
Fire is energy. It's literally the same thing. And plus, we know he had at least some clones. So, I mean, he could have more clones.
Yeah. There's a possibility that they have a clone that comes back as a way to replace him. But honestly,
that's literally what they did with Palpatine, right?
He's dead until they decide he's not dead. Until they need his character or decide that his character is relevant and they want to bring him in for something. He's dead until he decides he's not dead.
He's not a character worth bringing back. As good as the actor is, as good as they did during the show, the pivot is to Thrawn. We are now going to deal with Thrawn.
That I agree, yeah.
That is going to be he's going to be the main villain for the movie. He's going to be the main villain for what's happening next in the different shows. There is no way. There's not there's no way. There is very little reason to pivot back into that particular character. So I would say that they're going to do more of the Shadow Council. They're going to bring more of those characters.
So if I'm reading this right, what's going to happen is he's dead. Okay, and then they're going to do a Thrawn trilogy film. The end of which Thrawn dies. After the end of that trilogy, Moff Gideon has returned somehow. I mean,
oh my God!
Somehow Moff Gideon survived.
Please no. I mean, the thing of it is too, though, is even with Thrawn's return, I think they're going to use Thrawn's return as basically the way for how the First Order was able to build in secret, right? Because the First Order fleet doesn't make sense when you get to Episode 7, right? They openly defy the New Republic. They have a ton of assets for war, and they're like, we don't want to engage in war. We want to be peaceful. I'm like, you guys are idiots. But I mean, in fairness, Filoni has done a really good job with between Mando and Ahsoka now, really highlighting the ineptitude of the New Republic and their arrogance in a lot of their positions and standing, and a lot of the New Republic just trying to keep the status quo of what the Empire had been doing. Not as severe as a dictator kind of thing, but trying to keep the planets uniform, or at least an alliance. And so there's a lot of political backstabbing that happens in there because they're we really don't want to, and if you upset us, we take this massive piece of infrastructure out of your system.
Sure.
So,
and that was a thing, and I mean, not just in this stuff. It was in Legends and all the Thrawn books and all that sort of extended universe and everything. It was the New Republic had a lot of problems really getting their shit together.
To be honest, the only reason I want the New Republic to come to Star Wars is I want the Starhawk to be a capital ship. I
don't even know what that is. What's that?
It's like the Executor on steroids for the New Republic.
Okay.
I'll take your word for it. Never clever hiring all of the old Imperials. I mean, they're reformed though. They have no loyalty to the Empire anymore. Yeah.
Oh, let's see. Where's it?
I mean, that's from a few episodes ago, right? Can we talk about that? Was like episode 1 or 2 of Ahsoka?
Yeah. So long as we're not talking about episode 5, I think was the last episode, right?
We're not talking episode 5. Yeah, no, episode 5.
Except for this, it was fucking great. All right, it was a great episode. All right, that's
so good.
That's all we'll talk about it. Next tribes, I guess we could talk about it.
That is a good point. I mean, like they had all those industries and everything. They had all those. I mean, you can't just go and imprison everybody who is loyal to the Empire. Suddenly, you do not have a functioning anything. Suddenly, companies, nothing can run, nothing can get built, nothing can get done or anything. So you're going to have to just suck it up and say, hey, yeah, there are some people who may be turncoats, and they are necessary to get things running. Those are like the little things about like the world building in this Ahsoka show, which have been so
I like to compare it to the you can compare it to the banking bubble of 08, right?
Right.
There was a bunch of dodgy shit going on with the banks in 2008, and they basically crippled the world economy. But they were too big to fail because institutions and society in general relied on banks. So we had to bail them out because they were necessary. And they have returned to be the great evil that they are today. And that is the story of the Empire and the Republic. We are the Republic, and the banks are the Empire.
I mean, someday that's what it does feel like.
I mean, I'm only being slightly facetious there.
I put a photo of it in patron chat, but the Starhawk would be an amazing.
Ooh,
that little cluster on the front of it. That cluster on the front is a tractor beam able to tear apart capital ships like Star Destroyers.
That's cool.
That looks awesome.
It's like its whole design is it's a technological marvel. It took apart. I think it took like 6 Star Destroyers to create one of those. They just disassembled them and redid them. But the tractor beams were designed to like hold capital ships in place instead of small ships. So that tractor beam up front is ridiculous. And they actually did bring it back somewhat to canon with the Battlefront 2 game. We actually get to see one in action during the campaign.
Cool.
But if they did that I would be all for it. Like if they did a New Republic capital ship with New Republic pilots, so let's get some New Republic A-wings, X-wings, E-wings. Give me some of that, and then throw
every
it
alphabet
with this ship. I would lose my mind. I would love it so much if they did that. But I don't know if CG ever wants to pivot back into New Republic. I mean, we are covering it quite a bit with Mando and Ahsoka at this junction, but man, I just don't know.
Eventually, honestly.
Eventually, yeah. I mean, eventually it'll happen.
Eventually.
I mean, they're finishing up. They're doing the Leia right now. They're on the Return of the Jedi, that sort of kick and everything. But the new
that's
shows,
coming to an end.
New stuff that's coming out. The new stuff is really all in this new era. It's in
New
this
Republic,
post Empire, formation of the New Republic, sort of.
Well, we already have Imperial Remnant, right? So we already have
exactly,
Yep.
So we already have half the opposing faction, and honestly, I think that's kind of where I see the next bit going. Is if we do get Thrawn, which is I almost want to say Thrawn's going to be a hard. I would probably say 70% chance that he's the next GL we get. Just so much kind of. So much. Well, we need. It would in theory
coming out. There's supposed to be all sorts of stuff coming out.
In theory, needs to be Dark Side GL next to counteract. Right. But there's not a guarantee. But if they want to do a GL,
with it being neutral. If they want to do neutral, go do neutral.
They're not going to.
The boy Honda is still the only neutral unit in the game.
And still the most useless tag. The most
He is.
Useless tag in the entire game. I get why he did it, but it's also a useless tag because he lacks so much synergy options because he's not a light side ally.
I mean, it would help if they let neutral tags benefit from both dark side and light side cron benefits. Like, at least give them that, man.
Or kit tags. Like, let them qualify as both. Like, it'd be really cool
if both instead of a neither kind of thing. Yeah.
But I mean, anyways, I don't see him being neutral. But I mean, Thrawn makes the most sense for the next one because this version of Thrawn is probably not going to change a heck of a lot. Not going to get too much into what's happening with Ahsoka, but I feel like this isn't the final version kind of thing. She still has another thing to do. So it's like I don't want to say like the Ahsoka series is going to be like, well, that's a GL worthy character.
No,
I'm like, let's get to the end of it.
The Ahsoka series is really more of a primer for what Filoni wants to do, right? For his pièce de résistance, as it was.
Yeah, and so I mean, I could see Ahsoka actually putting something back together and getting the New Republic kind of and fighting for the New Republic instead of being a loner the entire time.
Yeah,
and I could see then pushing her as a New Republic galactic legend, and then having the opposite faction built up.
That's pretty cool.
And that gives us a lot of time to build out that GL. But I mean, that's the thing. Can it be like new GL Ahsoka leading like Padawan Sabine with like Hera and a new Ezra? Well, we don't really know. Cool. But this is the thing is Sabine is a Padawan by the definition of that she is learning to be a Jedi under Ahsoka, but by no means is she a Jedi or even like really much of anything. So it's
I'm still relatively certain we're going to see development in that character area.
I think what they're going to do is do what they've done from KOTOR 2.
We have.
I think they're going to do what they did with KOTOR 2. They're going
I haven't played KOTOR 2, you know this. So I don't
know. God. So
he's going to play that on stream soon. Anybody can be a Jedi. Yay!
In KOTOR 2, what happens is that basically this is what ends up happening. But in KOTOR 2, your character is stripped from the Force, and then you make a connection with somebody who's Force sensitive, and you're then able to harness your connection through them essentially. So you're using them as a conduit back to your old abilities. I think they're going to do something similar.
Alert! Jeez,
it's a 15-year-old game.
Which he hasn't played yet. Which he's going to be playing.
He finds out in the first hour of the game.
God.
The first hour of the game. Anyways,
more spoilers.
Anyways,
I'm gonna be a Jedi after the first hour. Fuck y'all. Or maybe a Sith, I guess.
Yeah, that's okay. But anyways, the reality of it is that they're probably going to use Ezra and Sabine's connection as for the relationship as her gateway to learning how to lose, or not how to lose, how to use the Force and more effectively than what she's been able to do up to date, which is apparently next to nothing. Yeah. But yeah, that's I think
she can fight. She can fight. She just
but I mean they clearly are giving like Ahsoka some powers that she never had prior to this series, so I don't think that they're going to have a problem doing the same thing for Ezra, who's also been gone for 20 years.
I mean, he's a little bit older.
He's going to have learned a thing or two.
On the note of the Force power thing, like, we're talking about KOTOR, so I'll bring it up. I don't really have a huge problem. Like, people have like, oh no, why can Rey do her Force healing thing? Like, this is never a power that they can do. Yeah. I'm used to playing KOTOR where Force healing is a thing. Like, it's just, it's a gift. I know. Like all of these games, it was like, we've been doing this for
so many games that have got Force healing in it. So many.
That, it's like, yeah, cool. Yeah,
it's
that
funny.
Makes the Force. Sure.
It's funny you say that because the only time they ever showed Force speed in the movies was Episode 1 in the hallway scene, and then literally
Ahsoka in the Mandalorian. There's a Mandalorian episode with Ahsoka, and she's like going all Force speed and shit, and like whooshing around. It's like really, really cheesy sound effects as she's going.
I remember.
Remember?
Yeah, I remember.
But my point was that basically right after that episode, George Lucas was like, we're just going to assume that if they want to do this, they're going to. We're not going to make it anything special. We're just going to pretend that Jedi just tap in and out of it whenever they need to for their reflexes or whatever else. And that's how they're going to always be so badass. And they're like, because it's just not worth the camera time to try to show that they can actually move faster than normal people can. And it's just like, That's fair, because it's like some of those things like you wouldn't think about needing to use. Like, I want to heighten my reflexes, so I'm going to use my force powers. Like, no, you just do it naturally. That's what you trained for. So, I feel like that's going to be a part of what happens in the longer we go. But yeah, they're going to bring force powers from the EU back into the game, or not the game, but the show, to kind of explain some things.
Yeah. Honestly, sometimes I do feel like Star Wars fans just want to latch onto anything to bitch about. That's how I feel. Like honestly, like out of everything that's wrong with the sequel trilogy, and there's plenty that's wrong with it. Like, why is force healing something that you're pissed off about? Like, not about the whole story doesn't actually make fucking sense.
I don't think it's about the ability. I think it's about who. Like, it just keeps placating to the fact that Rey is a Mary Sue. She immediately, with no other experience, knows how to force heal.
Yep, but I mean, at least at that point in the story, it makes sense. If you want to tell me she's a Mary Sue in episode 7, then I can get on board with it, because yes. she is able to Jedi mind trick with not even knowing what the Force is.
It is episode 9 that she heals, isn't it? Episode 9 is where she heals.
It's Rise of Skywalker is where she does the healing. But at that point, she's trained under Leia with Jedi texts for years.
Yeah.
It's like
episode 7 and 8. There's a very short time frame. I think episode 7 and 8. There's like 2 weeks of time between those two movies, and then 9 is a massive difference. It's you're right.
Yeah,
but the thing is, they do such a piss poor job explaining that it's like you don't know that it's been 2 years. Like, that's what they try to get out in front with Mando season 3. It has been like a year and a half, 2 years since the events of Book of Boba Fett when season 3 starts, and they try to get out in front of it, but it's still not very apparent that that's what they wanted to do. Besides, a few things have changed or they've moved locations, and so you would think that this wouldn't take an afternoon. It's been at least a little time. But overall, I think on this one, it's just kind of one of those things where it's like they don't do a great job explaining time in Star Wars as like, hey, could we just have the opening blurb say X amount of time after these events of the last thing that we saw, this is where we're jumping into now. It's like, oh, okay, because it's like you didn't need it really so much in the first Star Wars trilogy, because it was kind of apparent by the attire and by the locations and by what happened that time had been passing. But the 7, 8, 9 is like Rey goes from gray clothes to white clothes. That's all I got for you. Oh, Finn and Poe get new outfits.
That's and a haircut.
That's all and a haircut.
I know what that's like.
Rose gets a new
fashionable
outfit.
Bags. They got fashionable bags. Okay?
They have handbag
bros. They are the handbag bros.
Yes. But like the point I was trying to make is like out of everything wrong with that, the fact that she force heals is the least of my concern. Like, and even the fact that she does force lightning, like,
I'm okay with this staying in the force. I'm okay with that. Yeah,
it's fine. It's like it happens. It was like an emotional moment. It was cool. It was unfortunately immediately undone by the fact that Chewie wasn't on that ship. It was like way too cheap in the moment. Like, it would have been.
Chewie's fine.
It's like, no, it was different. Like, honestly, genuinely, kill Chewie. Like, I love the guy, but like, fucking, why not give some emotional weight to that scene? I'm sure Star Wars fans would actually just go, how fucking dare you kill Chewie like that?
Listen, like, there was a reason they left Grogu with Luke, and then Disney was like, oh, it's too marketable to leave Grogu behind, bring him back. It's like, no, just let him be. I mean, it's cute, but like, I don't care enough. I would rather have a good story than trying to explain why you have a toddler with you on these dangerous journeys. Like, why Grogu's with him so often blows my mind. Like, daycare center somewhere, man.
Have you guys read Vector Prime? That's one of the.
It's been a minute.
Like, so in Vector Prime, Chewie dies. Like, a moon drops on him, right? Something like that.
Yeah.
He's on a planet trying to evacuate people, and he stays on the planet to evacuate everybody, and he dies by getting crushed. Okay, and that was written by R.A. Salvatore, he's a Forgotten Realms novelist, and he's got his own Demon Wars book series. Like, he's the guy who wrote Dritz Duerden. like, he's a great author, okay? And he gets death threats to this day for killing Chewie, even though he had no choice in it. Like, he was forced to kill Chewie in that book by the publishers. They say, you're supposed to kill... His first draft, Chewie survived, and they're like, you were supposed to kill Chewie in this book. You need to rewrite this. So he had to write Chewie's... and he gets death threats to this day for killing Chewie. And I'm like...
Ow.
It has to happen at some point, guys. Everyone's not invincible until the day they die of old age. Like, come on.
Jeez.
And he dies a
honestly,
hero.
Well, yeah, he dies getting Anakin back to the ship, and then he can't make it in time.
It's just like...
But,
so I guess that's probably why they didn't kill Chewie.
It's funny though, because in the book it plays out that basically the fans' reaction is Han Solo's reaction. He is just livid the entire time with Anakin that Chewbacca dies. Like, it takes like a year or two for them to come back, and it's his son. It's Anakin Solo. It's his son, and he's pissed off at his son that he let his best friend die. And it's actually kind of an interesting, interesting
let's be honest.
dynamic.
Han Solo is always a bit of a dysfunctional individual, and that's kind of why we love him, right?
Love him,
yeah.
But yeah.
Hapsu, you know, like, death threats for a fictional character, it's ridiculous. And it's like, the part that gets me is he didn't have a choice. He was forced by publishers to write that death scene. He doesn't have a choice. He didn't choose to do it. It's like...
It's like you hear about the actor who played Jar Jar got, had to go through like therapy, like almost killed himself and everything because he got harassed and everything so much. Absolutely insane. He
did a great job playing Jar Jar.
Playing a job.
He did,
like,
actually.
Come on.
He played it perfectly. Just like Hayden played his role perfectly. It wasn't particularly enjoyable sometimes to watch Anakin be cringy as fuck.
Well, and the thing is too, though, is that a lot of that came from the editing, though. Like, there are screenshots of the scripts and lines that didn't make it, and there are very intellectual conversations that were going on there. But it's the downside of trying to drive two stories at the same time. You know, you've got the beginning of the Clone Wars, which is very action packed, very exciting, and the marriage of Anakin and Padme, which is just not interesting compared to what's going on Geonosis right now. And so it's like it's a very jarring. I think the editing was done very poorly. I think it should have been more of a little closed caption kind of thing.
To be honest, like, it's been a long time since I've watched the Clone Wars as well, but I remember my reaction to watching that marriage scene as well felt like I never felt like there was a romantic connection between these two, apart from Anakin being completely infatuated with her.
It felt super forced.
It was just like,
the most
they're getting married now, huh?
The most genuine romantic moment between Anakin and Padme in the entire Attack of the Clones movie was when they are riding out together to be executed. That is the most genuine those characters are behaving. Yeah,
but that's it.
And that's it.
Where's the build up? Where's the everything? It feels so forced.
Yeah, the playfulness on Naboo gets really overrated by the fact that the dialogue is so crap, and then it's like the fact that it's like, oh well, you know, clearly I'm not supposed to be in love with you, but let's have a super romantic candlelit dinner that's just awkward as hell. It's like, and that was the thing.
Like, not romantic at all.
The scenes didn't really portray a good reason for Anakin and Padme to be together. And I think the best part of a lot of that is when in the Clone Wars animated show they actually revisit that and make the relationship make a lot more sense. Because they do keep up the we can't tell anybody, it would be a huge conflict of interest between a senator and a Jedi being married, and it would get us both in trouble, and so there's a lot of secret and shadows, and they have to act nonchalant the entire time. They can't really let anyone on. So they do a good job of that in the Clone Wars show, in a few episodes, kind of just showing how their relationship function on a day-to-day basis.
Oh, the show was real good about that. But like, real quick, you say that those scenes didn't show any good reason for them to be together. Like, did you not see those scenes? Did you not see fucking Padme? I mean, did you need more reason?
I do.
Come on.
I said all I saw was Anakin infatuated with Padme. I'm not saying he doesn't have a reason to be.
But he's got a reason to be in Padme's shorts.
He's all the way up there, and he's into her. But she just gives the impression that she sees him as an irritating sex pest more than husband material.
Yeah, she sees him absolutely. The viewpoint that comes across a lot in the beginning of the Attack of the Clones is that she views him as she did in the Phantom Menace as a child, you know, who's 9 and she's 18 or 17 or whatever. There's a substantial difference between the two in age.
I mean, when they come back, and she's like, Annie, how you've grown. And he's like, yeah, and all this sort of business. He gives off like pretty heavy Jeffrey Dahmer vibes. The way he looks at her,
right?
He's like, "I'm a cook you and eat you" kind of thing. You know, it's creepy.
Exactly.
Okay. Exactly. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's what and that's why it was kind of when you watch it's happening anyway. You know that's where it's going, but it's like, really, this is the guy she chose? I mean, okay.
And that's always a downside of writing a story with a guaranteed ending. Like that's always the kind of like everything just seems forced, and that's what's really rough.
Yeah.
And we miss a lot of that stuff because you can't write. You want to include more dialogue, but it's not the part of the story that makes that needs to be explained the most. So it gets left on the editing floor, and you never really get a good satisfying.
You can make a realistic love story. You can make a realistic love story out of those two characters, but in
the same time, you're telling the story of how Kenobi finds Kamino and how they get the Clone Army and how the Galactic War breaks out. Like there is so much going on that you need to know for how the Galactic Republic falls and becomes able to be taken over by a single madman.
I don't know. I don't know why we're surprised when in the original trilogy, Luke made out with his sister, and then she got with his best friend.
Here's a fun fact.
That's the love story.
Sister.
I mean, yeah, but in his defense, he did not know.
Your trip in so long.
If you close your eyes and squint a little, she doesn't look like your sister anymore.
Listen, we're all God's children in the dark.
That's not me condoning any sort of incestuous relationship.
God.
Sweet home Alabama.
Oh dear me. So George Lucas and love stories don't go hand in hand is what I'm trying to say. He might know how to nerd out, but the romance side is not his strong suit, I don't think.
Well, and it's just the things that had to be set into the stage. Like that was the hard part with 1, 2, and 3 was setting the stage for the fall of the Republic, which just means you need a lot of background information, which takes up just a ton of your screen time, and that's what happens. I mean, even episode 1, you have entire dialogue about the trade restrictions on Naboo that just means nothing to the average viewer. But they're
I know I played it on my stream a couple of months back, but it was the pitch meeting guy talking about Star Wars. And episode 1, he's like, okay, so Star Wars movies for kids. Yeah, let's talk about politics.
Yeah, politics and trade policy.
Let's 45 minutes. It's just like,
it's a great thing, and I understand where it's coming from, because you just don't have the time to extrapolate on those ideas of how that pervasive mentality brought down the fall of the Republic, but it's important for the story of how everything kind of gets to what happens in episode 4. But you're trying to fit like 15 story arcs into the same thread because you have so much stuff that has to happen in 3 movies, which is unfortunate. But
just throwing this out there, he changed it from it was originally A New Hope, and then decided it was episode 4, 5, and 6. He can do like an episodes -3, -2, -1, and then episodes 1, 2, and 3. All right, he could have made more episodes. This is not him.
We're gonna have
George.
We're gonna have episode 1 squared. We're gonna have the square root of episode 4 coming out any day now.
Episode pi to the -1. Beautiful.
Exactly. I mean, it's the impossible episode, is what they call it. Yeah.
Done. Lovely.
It could happen. Yeah. So crazy business. Crazy business. So, how about that Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes game? Is that any good?
Isn't this a SWGoH podcast, right?
It's a open forum chat. Come on, like it's.
I mean, I make it very clear that the agenda is fast and loose, just like my love life. That's not even slightly true, actually. I am a very one-woman kind of guy, but I like to pretend to strangers on the internet that I'm a don. That's not strictly true, but whatever. I don't think Mrs. Scribble listens to this podcast, so I might get away with it. Don't speak too loudly. Make it very fast and loose with this. We don't really have an agenda. We just kind of talk about stuff. And if one day this turns out to not be a Galaxy of Heroes podcast, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. It'll start off talking about Star Wars, and in the end, we're going to be talking about, I don't know, toupees, because I'm probably going to need them eventually. I'm getting a bit thin on top here.
Just shave and glue.
Yep, shave and glue. That's how I live my life.
That sounds painful.
All right, guys. Well, I think we might as well wrap it up there. I don't think there's much Galaxy of Heroes talk. We've done it to death. It's been great. Wolfie, anything you want to say before we close off this business?
Padme, man. Padme, I think is top tier. I'm still focused on like, oh yeah, there's no reason. There was all the reason in the goddamn world. Anyway, sorry. That's what it went on.
Padme, Carthrick, how about you? Also Padme, I guess.
No. I'm just interested to see what they do in SWGoH this next
that
quarter.
Game?
Lame.
Yeah.
Lame.
Listen.
We could get midriff Padme. It could happen.
I got enough Padme for today, so I should be all right. But no, there's a lot of things coming on the horizon that'll be interesting, and I kind of hope they don't sit on it too long, because I kind of feel like what keeps a lot of people interested in the game is future content. So
sure, of course. I mean, it's always exciting when we finish off a round of Conquest, because new stuff, we get a hint of where the game is going, right? So
yeah. So I'm interested to see what happens with that. This next Conquest unit will kind of dictate some things.
New Datacron.
Oh god.
New raid.
I wonder if they're gonna do this. If they're gonna keep the same relic levels for the next set. I want to say no.
So. That's a good question.
I want to say no because they did say it was a one-off, but honestly,
I just feel like it was a testing the water thing. If they found that there was increased uptake in Datacrons for this set with the reduced relic levels, they'll probably just keep it.
Well, and it's very hard to tell how that plays out for a Datacron since it's available for 4 months. We're only 1 month into it, so it's like, how do you tell? You need more time to see what the engagement is, because some people wanted to wait until this Conquest to farm everything out because they didn't know what was going to be needed, and some people found that out immediately and farmed 30 of them. So you're always going to people at the top end that are always going to invest in Datacron because it's part of how we play BAC and TW. And then everyone else kind of follows behind after the next Conquest when they have time to know what's good and what to focus on, so they're not wasting reroll mats because they're not going to spend additional crystals on getting them or whatever else. So there's a lot of flexibility with that. But I think that from what I understand right now, it makes more sense for them to make Datacrons more engaging or lower level access, because it's not going to change for a lot of the upper players. But I think that's for a lot of people, it's like they just can't get the teams to relics in the first place. So it's like they don't even engage with it. And it doesn't take long to fall out of complete usability inside of Kyber. It's like I'm the alt I picked up this last week. It started in Kyber 3. My current opponent has 1 level 9 in each set, and that's it.
God, how nice is that? Like 1 level 9 Datacron? My last opponent had 49 or something like that.
I am thoroughly enjoying the fact that my opponents, I'm 65% or 65 banners on every fight. I'm like massively efficient, and I'm like, it's because every counter just works. I don't have to worry about what to take or modify or if my relics are good enough, because I don't have Datacron. It don't matter. I just go do what I want, and it's like done.
It's so funny when you see a team that doesn't have a Datacron. You're just like, oh,
move on.
Oh, we're playing old school.
It's so funny to see teams that can't equip one. Like I haven't seen a team with G12 in 2 years, and yet now it's even in the that's the thing that is interesting to me though. It's only in Kyber 3. Like I'm not that far from the top. Kyber 2 is its own span of
Kyber 2
things,
is massive.
But the short of it is that there's still a lot of there's not very good players engaging with it because they just don't have the depth to get even everything to Relic 1. So why bother investing into something that's not going to be usable? And I think that's kind of the unfortunate part with Datacrons is that they did initially put that bar too high. And I think that it was going to force people to do more upgrading, and people just said no. And we're seeing the same thing now with TB, right?
Well, I mean, I personally, I don't think that Arnold's reaction to Datacrons really helped that, because he was very sort of vehemently again. And to be honest, I was not happy with Datacrons when they first came out. I was willing to,
temporary power.
When they first came out, it was the Ray Super Old Crons.
Yeah,
it was the ridiculous shit with that. Those Crons were insane.
My opinion on Datacrons has changed over time, to be honest. Especially with now that we don't get GL Datacrons, because I think GLs with Datacrons doesn't make sense. They're already the peak.
It was too much.
I don't mind a temporary benefit to a team that lets them punch up and beat a GL in certain situations. That's okay, but what I don't want Datacrons that make a GL team unbeatable. That's or not unbeatable, but practically unbeatable. That's not fun for anybody. I've become I'm a little bit more desensitized to Datacrons now, far more willing to accept them than when they
it was
been
a year, so you have a little bit more of headspace to work around them, but I could see them trending lower, but my point was that with them doing a massive influx of Relic 9 materials, I feel like they're trying to get players to buy into it more, because that's what they thought TB was going to do. Push a bunch of R9s onto the field because you had to. You had to have 70 to do platoons and the CMs, right? Yeah. And what did they find? People just stop at 36. Stars, and they don't care. The reward change for the investment level is nominal, and nobody really cares about that.
It's too much to try and push to get an additional star at that point. The amount of Relic 9s you need is huge.
Yeah,
that's massive.
They're so expensive. Yeah. So it's and that's kind of where I think that they're reevaluating some things, because they put out all of these massive, things for the big guilds to chase after, but not everybody wants to do that, because it's just it doesn't make sense. They can't go spend,
it's not realistically tuned.
Yeah.
It's really not realistic. Like you're saying, TB, look at the later planets. You need all these full Relic 9 teams.
Yeah,
that's not reasonable.
Very few people have got Relic 9 teams, man.
Few people can field a full R9 team, let alone have 5 R9 characters.
Yeah. Let alone have 5 R9 characters that actually have synergy. Because usually, if you're Relic 9ing someone, you're Relic 9, like JML. You're Relic 9 JML. You won't necessarily. You're not going to Relic 9 JKR.
I'm not Relic 9ing GMY to go on the fucking team.
God,
sorry,
no.
piss off.
No, it's not happening.
It's just it just seems so out of touch.
No, not until Relic 9 becomes like Relic 7, and it's easily achievable. Even then, Relic 7 is not exactly super easy, but it's a lot easier now than it ever has been.
A lot more manageable than Relic 9. Jeez.
Oh, God, yeah. So we just need a hell of a lot more resources if they want us to realistically break those Relic 9 barriers.
A lot of R7's availability comes from the fact of the gear economy changes. It is so much easier to get to gear 12, which means we're stockpiling more and more resources faster to get those low-level stuff kind of through. Now, granted, Carbonite and Bronzes are still a headache for a lot of players. I won't argue that.
I feel that.
But the reality is that it is taking less and less effort because of the influx of gear to get to those places. That's actually why they ended up having to have what we can get out of them, because they wanted to slow us down. But the reality is that in the long run is it'll get easier and easier to get the low-lying fruits, but there is such a gate because there's so few things that are able to go into R8 and R9, and the quantities needed are so damn high that players will not invest into that
damn high
until it's necessary.
Too damn high, boy. Yeah.
That's the hard part. It's like, why would I waste 250 furnaces getting 20 Gerda keypads, or I could level up like 3 characters to gear 13. And so it's just one of those things. Like, what's the cost benefit analysis? Like, people that are sub 10 million GP, they're not gonna care to spend those resources on things that are beyond what they're gonna do. Exactly. 1 or 2 characters here and there, sure, because they're required or they're just infinitely better at R9, like JML. Sure, they'll do that, but that's it. They're not. Most accounts that are above 8 million GP have 5 or less R9s, and that's most of them are requirements.
So I think Karth had about a 20-minute outro there, but
yeah, I was gonna say that was a very long
good.
Goodbye. I just said Padme and then said goodbye, and he was like, "All right, hold up, we need to have a discussion real quick."
Whoa! I didn't take any discussion. I just brought up a point, and then we talked about it. So yeah, there's that.
Genuinely, that was about 14 minutes, Karth. So yeah, and that's Karth, guys.
Not sorry.
not sorry, but yeah, it does raise a good point. I'm sure we'll catch up again on the next episode of Tribe Talks. So make sure you guys like and subscribe to this video, because we took 2 hours to get drunk and talk shit, basically. And if that doesn't deserve a like and a follow, then why the hell am I doing YouTube? Also, it's on Spotify and iTunes and all forms of podcasting networks. Make sure that you follow my good man, The Wolf, on Twitch as well. He streams all the frickin' time. Karth is just frickin' everywhere.
Right. Heroes, we're doing. I'm joining you as a Baldur's Gate and everything. It's so good.
Yeah, it is.
Oh,
it is.
My God.
Yeah. But till next week, guys. Peace out. Big love. See you all soon. Bye-bye.